and I came to get down.
I want to rock. I want to rock. I want to rock.
Like,
Thought I was the only one when I heard that.
no,
What is going on?
there's a lot of there's a
It's
lot
a
of
concert. It's a concert going on. You ain't know that?
it's a concert going on, chat.
A concert that I want to be deaf at.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Come on, man. Smoke machines and everything out there right now.
Well, just for you, Zaki, we'll have some sign language guys out there, rocking it out on the stage, just for you.
Thanks, Dealey.
But hey, we gotta say hi to the chat, guys. Everyone waiting on us. Thank you again. We know it's not the most interesting time of the year, but believe it or not, we actually have some really cool topics today. And we're having Gaming Forte on. We'll introduce him. Larry's never been on here. And then we've got, of course, the usual suspects. And again, great topics. I can't stress that enough. Some real passion today. D-Batch, another week, another podcast. How you been?
I'm good, man. Yeah, it's good to get a break from everything. Summer's wrapping down. It's kind of a slow season, but we got some good topics on today's show, so let's get on with it.
We sure do. We've also got Fonzarelli. How you been?
What's going on? I'm glad to be here. It's Tuesday, RDX day, fantastic day. And I see everybody coming into the chat and some wonderful people in there. Can't wait to get this started, man.
Yes. We've got some awesome people in the chat. Boss Mod, Lethal Pavo, we got... Obi-Wan ain't here this week, but we do have some other mods. I'll check. I'll shout them out when I see them, okay? And then we got Fun Speculation Mav. Been playing a lot of 2K 9 lives. He's here every single week. Good to see you, brother. The General C, of course, we've got Power, NZ, and then I just want to give everyone a shout out. I can't. I'm sorry. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much. Floodman, hello. And then, of course, we got another intro here. We've got Tim Dog. Another week, brother. Another great show. How you been?
Good, happy to be here. Actually have my set up, so I don't have to do it from the phone. Thanks for dealing with that last week. But yeah, happy to be here. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of fun stuff, a lot of stupid stuff, but it's going to be entertaining.
Yes. And then we've got Zalker87.
How you doing? Glad to be here. Did Dealer cut out?
No.
Oh, you didn't. Maybe I just cut out because I'm an idiot. Anyways, yeah, I'm glad to be here. I stepped away from Hades because I have not stopped playing that game the entire week. Not even a joke. Like, I can't stop playing it, bro. It's so damn good.
Game Pass is so trash, right?
It's
so
100% trash, and nobody gets paid from it, and you don't support nothing.
I like how
I do
people are
feel
running
bad
with
for
this these Game Pass articles, and we're going to crush hard today on that one. It's going to be fun. But we've also got Gaming Forte. Thanks for coming on, brother. I figured I'd have you on. I know Zalker. I didn't know if Zalker was going to be able to make it or not, and it turns out he made it for at least an hour. And, thanks for showing up, brother.
Oh, no, man. I appreciate it, man. It's always great to be here with this powerhouse of a panel, man. You guys kill it every week, and I'm just happy to be here.
That was very, very formal. He called someone a fuckface when he dunked on him like an hour and a half ago. So.
Oh, Lord, I dunked on a couple of people.
Anyway, we got to change that. We're going to start talking about basketball. So, hey, we've got some awesome topics again. I'm going to do some shout outs to my Patron tier, updating that every single month. So if you haven't, check it out down below. We got Borgboy Gaming, Dave Incubus, shout out to you, Ricky Falan, who, by the way, is really, he was in the hospital. I don't think he was in the hospital, but he was in the hospital for someone else, perhaps. And he said xCloud saved his life there. So that's actually a really cool story, but I hope everything's good there. Darj Knight, shout out to you, brother. Faultline Z, Not Silik, Gods, Geeks, Bad Boy Live, Alfonso, or that's Achievement. Sorry. Nano Polymath, shout out to you. Zoradin, Costanza, Scout Trooper 74, KY, Bob, Goose 8402, Straw Hat Khalifa, Assassin, Lupa. Shout out to her. She was very nice last night in the party. And then we got Foreign Object, Gab Quiz, Teo, John Blue, Vec Boss, Steve Eater X, Real Deal Neil, Suicide King, Tasteless Genie, as well as Michael Bowen, Guillermo Cavillo, All Might, Dark CMF, and Alfonso Hogan. Shout out to all of those guys. You're awesome. But you know what's not awesome? Is getting scammed. When the developer says they're going to be revealing a product or a game, and they're not going to debut that trailer after having you install an application on your PlayStation. Apparently, me and Fonz cover this on his show. So if you go to Fonz's channel and check that out, this is one of those topics, but Blue Box, right? They said they got this big reveal for a PlayStation 5 exclusive. They were touting it, they were pushing it up, and I think we had already covered some of this, Zalker. And
Fonz.
Yeah, but I think we covered it even on last week's RDX. But
We
here's
talked about it a little bit,
but
not
here's the
nothing
thing,
crazy.
though.
We
Like,
didn't know a lot.
we didn't really emphasize, because some people in the chat were saying, this is a scam. This is a scam. And I was like, I know these guys are savage, but I didn't know enough about it. Turns out, this is a scam. So this is like the second or third time they promised to show gameplay for something or a trailer, right? And it's even worse so now because they're having you install like their app or whatever app on your PlayStation. This is like the second or third time they promised to show gameplay. And then due to technical difficulties, they've never shown any gameplay. In fact, they've never even released one single game after taking your Kickstarter money and much more. So, Bonds, is this not a scam?
Here's the thing. If you look back at going back to 2015, these people have this company here, this Blue Box, have promised games since 2015, even going through Kickstarters, taking people's money through Kickstarters, mind you, and then canceling on games. And this has happened several times since 2015, going into today. Even some similarities here, like where they say we're going to show a trailer, and then they just don't show a trailer, and then they kill a website regarding the game. So similar things happening surrounding this. The only thing that's really different here is the fact that they're having you put their app on your PlayStation, which I find to be the biggest weirdness thing here. Like, I don't quite understand it.
Flag.
You kind of explained it a little bit to me yesterday, thinking maybe they're trying to get people's information this way. I don't know.
I mean, are they
but-
having you sign in to the application, or what are they
I don't
doing?
know I don't know what they're doing for it, because I won't even download the
It
app
was to
myself.
download. I think it was to download
You go
the
ahead and take that,
trailer. So I
Zucker.
think it was to download the trailer. So people sat there and downloaded the trailer, which I think was multiple gigabytes, and then it ended up being a 4-second clip of something walking across the floor, and then people that live
Like your dad at 3 a.m. getting up for some fucking
it's
some
like some guy
juice.
gonna go take a shit, and it's like they're sitting there looking at it, and they saw the footage, and they were like, that was it. Like, you could see these people that were streaming this live were like, that was it. And then to top it all off, all these people were like, well, then examine the floor. There's got to be hints.
There's gotta
And it's
be
like,
hints.
What?
And it says
And I just
in
sat
real
there.
small like etchings on the floor. Scam.
Yeah, they're like, I mean,
Listen.
look, if you see the board, it's raised this way, and then Kojima raises his board. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, I literally, I didn't even want to talk about this last week, because obviously I didn't look into it too much, because I was like, oh, just Blue Box, I guess it's a studio. Like, I didn't look into it, but then I did, and I looked into the studio itself. I looked at their website, and I told this to the guys. I was like, hey man, their website is still saying under construction. And I'm like, what?
Must be a
What
badass
studio
website.
that's working with Kojima has a website under construction?
They're not working with Kojima. That's 1,000% silly. But Tim, what were you gonna say?
No.
What do you want to say, D-Batch, and then I'll go.
No, I was gonna say that they put some type of fake Easter egg or some Kojima shit in there, which they probably shouldn't have. And I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why people are suckered in by these guys still, man. Like, weren't they supposed to show that gameplay like a couple of weeks ago, and then they flaked on everybody? And for you to come out with an anticipated game somewhat, and for a new studio or a studio that doesn't have any games, it's kind of a good way to kind of get some hype. You got to deliver something.
Bro,
And
they've been doing this
delivered
for 7 years.
nothing. Like,
They've been doing this
well,
for
this is the
7
first time
years.
I'm-
They've been doing this.
Really?
Hey,
It's the first time I'm hearing of them.
See, what caught my eye, and we talked about it last week. And if you remember last week, listen to the show via shot. We definitely covered it, and I'm like, I didn't think anything of it until then. I thought of it like this might be not real, or like this is completely weird. And then I saw it. I'm sure everyone who knows this, they saw that meme where it's like their whole history of making a game, making an announcement. It's gone. The website's gone. Like, and then it's not like 4 times. Like, it was like 7 times.
They've
And
done this
then-
7 times?
Yeah, they
Well,
haven't
they-
released. Well, they canceled every game that they tried to release. They canceled.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
and
haven't
then-
released a game.
they kept
yet.
that money though.
And
Didn't they
listen,
release one game, one
to
early
me-
access?
to
game?
me-
Listen, man.
Hang on, let Tim
They
finish.
should
it.
Go ahead, Tim.
No, but to me, the reason why I kind of like am a little bit surly on the situation is because that guy Hassan, I guess his name is, kind of like I think misled people, and also they definitely fed into the Kojima shit. Like, they know that stuff was being talked about, and I kind of felt like they even like tested the waters there just to get their game hype. And then they're making these claims like it's 4K 60 with 8K textures. And at this point, when you do what they did, and this is my final point on this, where they said, we're going to give you a demo, then say technical difficulty, come back tomorrow, then say come back next week, and then say, get ready, guys. And then it's the same fucking clip, excuse my language, that you saw a week ago. So it's like now, like something's up. Like now it's like red flags all over the place.
Man, it was red flags 3, 4 a month, 2 months ago. They should rename this studio Blue Ball Studios, because that's what they basically were doing to people that were looking and all drooling over all this stuff that was coming out from this studio. I'm like, this is the biggest tease I've ever seen in my life. I'm watching all these different content creators live stream this stuff, coming up with these outlandish scenarios like it has to be this. We got people, his last name starts with this and it's going to end with this, and if you convert it over, it's going to be this. I'm like, it was so much theory crafting around this forgettable studio that literally hasn't released a game ever. And then,
well, you can look at what they've done so far for marketing purposes. They've grown exponentially. The company's
absolutely.
social media, everything has grown so much, and so.
But it's not the right kind of. I agree, but it's not the right.
But here's the thing. Yeah, I agree with that, Tim. You're about to say it's not the right move, not the right way to do it. I agree with that. But at the end of the day, if this thing does not show up as a Kojima game or a Silent Hills, they're going to be just lambasted. People are going to come with pitchforks after them, because this is what they're expecting. Regardless of what they're saying, hey, we're not part of Kojima, we're not part of Silent Hills, they're still going to come after him. Because
I think it's a culmination of things. I think people are really actually annoyed that Kojima might be making an Xbox game. I think that, and then the rumors going around, people talking about it, like, hey, there might be something coming in where he's using the cloud, and so I'm just being real. Like, I mean, do you remember when Kojima like announced Death Stranding? People were like, he's coming home. It's like, okay, relax. It's like, yeah, that's literally what a lot of people are saying. He's coming home.
They need to look into Kojima's origins first for this.
I know, and look into his history. Yeah. And it's like, man, like, okay, so that's what I think it is. I think a lot of people are like, well, no, it's a PS5 exclusive, and this is what it's going to be, and this is where it's going to go, and it's Kojima. It's got to be Kojima, and then it's Silent Hill, and it's like, man, like so many content creators ran with it, and at this point, I think, like, I don't know, man. Like, if Abandon's real and it comes out, hey, cool, it comes out.
There has to be
then
a
I'm
game,
wrong.
though,
But I don't know if there is.
There has to be a game.
I don't know.
Because
I don't know if
they got Sony to sign off on this project. They got Sony to allow them to put an application. Well, I mean, look, they've got an application on their console.
They promoted it. Yeah.
Shouldn't they have like some sort of hoops they need to jump through?
We need to know more about this application. And secondly, I'm sure they could get that application on there without Sony specifically. Like, anyone can launch an application if it meets their certification requirements, right? So.
Like all you have to do for Apple is pay.
And even what was that? Even Yoshida, like you said on your show, right? He was like,
Yoshida.
Like even he was side eyeing this shit.
Yeah, when they were having technical issues.
So explain what the Yoshida did on Twitter there.
He tweeted it and went, Like, I was like, what is going on?
Like, I don't know about this. It looks a little strange.
Yeah, I don't know.
Listen, I mean, if this was an Xbox game, I guarantee you people would be calling for them and going after them. But it really is a situation that it's not even a console war thing. Is that nobody should be doing that stuff if you really are misleading and going on with that stuff. I mean, I don't know. Right now, like I said, total red flags about the situation. I do think that if they do get a game, though, it's going to be I don't think it's going to be what anybody expected. I don't really have a lot of confidence that it's going to be a good game.
Honestly, I just think I think these people are just getting way too. I think like fuck these people. Who cares? Like they're getting way too much attention for doing stuff like that's misleading people. And there's other games.
You better not have made a video about this, boy, because you.
No, I didn't. I didn't even make a video about this at all. I don't want to because I don't care about these people because it's just. I think it's bullshit. Like even if you're a Sony fan or whatever, like gaming is awesome. Like we love seeing news, and if you're just gonna be an asshole about it and tease us, like there's other games coming out like Alien Fire Team, Hades.
Alien Fire Team does look good. You got to give it up to that game. It does look pretty good. It looks good. Keyword.
just from their false advertisement of this
Well-
demo, and it's just like a 2-second clip, just lets you know that the game is not gonna be what you think it's gonna be. It's kind of evident, because if it was, they wouldn't be doing all this bullshit to generate interest. Like, if you say there's gonna be a demo, like, come on, like, at least have a demo. This demo consisted of you pressing the button and going continue, and then watching a footstep on the fucking ground, whatever. That, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
I mean, you can build that in Unreal Engine 5 literally in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'm not even joking. Like, I like, you can do that in like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
I mean, you have to really go through their history to see if they even delivered a game. I mean, it's definitely checkered. You know, and I don't want to be like, you know, totally against the dev if he really is trying to be, you know, real about it. But that's just the way I feel. But you got to also understand, Sony is either going to back themselves off of this, or they're going to. I think they're going to probably back themselves off this. I can honestly say, if this was an Xbox game, I think that they would have cut ties with
all
that.
all of this stuff came from the fact that Sony has been so quiet. They outside of the little tweets here and information about certain games that came out and their last state of play, they haven't really said anything. So silence breeds conspiracy. That's all this is. A lot of people are only talking about this because Sony hasn't come out and said anything. So if Sony's not talking about it, and they're not debunking any of this stuff, and then you got Konami
you said they didn't say nothing. Yoshida said, "Huh."
Yoshida is what does Yoshida listen?
He said,
until proper PlayStation comes out and says something about it, people are going to be sitting there like, okay. And then Yoshida, how long did it take Yoshida to do that? You know,
Yoshida had a crazy weekend. Leave the man alone, all right?
No.
Look. We got to give a shout out real quick to everyone joining us real quick, because they make the show go. So we got to give a shout out to getting up close to 1,000 people already watching this, guys. Thank you. We know it's dead as fuck out there, but thanks for checking us out. Hit the like button, and let's try to get to 1,000 likes for the end of the show. We do appreciate it. Everyone in the chat, Pong Soul. We've got, again, Gandalf. I like that name. Matthew. And one more. Spider-Man 356. Shout out to you. Big Cloud Gaming as well. By the way, super chats. A couple of them here. RDX, son of Fett. He says, what's up with PlayStation not getting Battlefield beta? I would say that is probably due to very, very, very poor optimization, even on the Xbox Series X side. And that's like the lead console. So for that game, right? So that game ran like trash on Series X. I know that for a fact. But all games run like trash, you know, pretty much a couple months before launch. Optimization happens around this time. So keep that in mind. That's probably why. Big Cloud in the super chat says, what's up, dealer? What's going on, brother? Good to see you back in the chat. And then KY Bob, member for 22 months. Shout out to you. He says, bam, RDX for life. Shout out to you, brother. And of course, I'll come back to any others. But again, Fonz, you had a really good. When you said this has to be a game, there has to be a game. I would agree with you. I would 100% agree with you until I heard that this shit has happened like 7 times.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is they had to have presented something to Sony. To, you know,
I don't think there's a partnership, man. I don't think there's a partnership. I think it's a third party random. They're doing their own thing.
But here's one thing I don't think a lot of people are thinking about. Maybe Sony likes this attention.
Oh shit.
Maybe Sony likes that people are talking about them in this game. Maybe people because I've heard people out there saying, and you know, it's weird to me, but anyway, they're saying that they're having fun with all this. This is great. This is cool. This is like going through some sort of like mystery. And I'm like, this is not fun to me at all. This is annoying. But for other people, they're
nobody
liking
would
it.
be having fun with this.
I don't think Sony's having fun with this, bro.
They're not
having
fun with this.
Dude, if this was Xbox, everybody would be having fun with this all day on Twitter and YouTube. They'd be, you know, fuck Xbox, etc. But Sony, you know, they don't have to cut ties or really say anything besides on Twitter.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, if like I said, if this was an Xbox game, this would be probably with a much harsher light on it. A lot of people, quite frankly, are confused. A lot of people also are playing this fantasy game that this is a Kojima game, and like I think Zorka was saying, like they matched up one plank of thing and this. Like, you know, come on. Like, if you want to look for something and you want it to be there, you'll make a way to have that happen. So that's exactly what those people are doing. The dev even said we don't have association and this and that. He did come out and say that. But again, the handling of the whole situation, when you say that you're going to deliver something to a specific fan base, and believe me, with a lot of hype, like, because they do have it, because they, of all the stuff that the Kojima and everything, and then you're talking the way you're talking, and then you don't put it out there, and then you put out the same thing.
I'd argue
just
that just as I said, I think maybe Sony does like the attention because Sony's not really talking about much right now. There's not really much to talk about
That's
regarding
bad attention,
Sony.
though.
This might be, but sometimes they say, any press is good press. And I
So,
think
Vons, you're saying
maybe-
that they are
Maybe they
basically
like it.
sanctioning this. Like, they're like, yeah, go for it, fuck them.
Well, not really saying
Because now, because you said it, we all said it. You know that, right?
They're allowing the app on their platform, and they're allowing them to continue this charade, if it is a charade. But in the end, I do think there's going to be some sort of product here. I don't think it's Kojima, but I think the illusion that they keep trying to allude that they are part of Kojima, even though they say they're not. There's so much there that they try to play on with Kojima. I think Sony may like some of this. Sony may like the attention that it's gathering. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Well, chat, let us know what you think. Because I don't know where the hell this game's at. I looked on the floorboards. I looked for the clues. I can't find them.
And then they said 4K 60 with 8K textures. Like, I mean,
Like
I don't know,
8K
that
textures.
sounds-
You mean textures that can scale up to 8K through Unreal Engine 5
No,
that you don't even need
yeah.
because you can't see the shit because you're only rendering it at 4K.
No, man, this is all bogus, man. The fact that they literally tweeted, say the patch is live. Please check out the update availability on your console. This patch introduces the following: access to the app, access to an app. What the? Okay, first,
Hell
access
yeah,
to the
patch that app.
What's that all about? Second, a short introduction teaser to a app along with its announcement. So the announcement was the actual app. What? This absolutely made no sense. Listen, man, this is like the biggest fail I've ever seen in my life, bro.
You want to know the experience of that guy you're talking about, the developer? Because I just looked it up.
Yeah.
You want to know what his experience is? Nothing.
Wow.
He doesn't have anything. He has 7 years
That's what
at
we
Blue
said.
Box. He has 7 years at Blue Box Game Studios. He has no picture on his LinkedIn. He has nothing. So he has no, and there's nothing. It's just an empty page with no picture, and that's it. And
He got your money. He got your money.
See, but you've got people like Papa Woody in the chat that think it's Kojima.
Man.
Clearly, I think he was joking. He said Hideo Hojima.
Oh my god. Okay. Well,
All right.
hey,
I read that
KTX
wrong.
Gamer says in the super chat,
That's funny.
super chat, by the way, thank you. He says, "Is Sony really backing Abandon, or is it just a case of a symptom of pay me $25,000 and get a blog?"
You're promoting it if it's on your platform like that. You're allowing them to do that. So
Yeah, they need to investigate these guys. That's what I would say.
You know what he
Look,
just
I
scammed? Scammed 30 minutes of my life just now. That's what happened.
I'm not saying Sony's behind it and all that. I'm just speculating because at the end of the day, I don't know if it's a real product. I don't know if it is going to be a product. I don't know if it's Kojima behind it. But if it is Kojima behind it, look, this whole thing was very annoying to me. Just dumb.
if I was to sell you a product, and if I was to sell you a product at my store, Fonz, and it was messed up, who would you blame for that, Fonz? Would you come to the store like y'all sold me some broke stuff?
Yeah.
So the fact that this is on Sony's store and you download it through their store, you have to click the confirm button on their store to download this. I'm sorry, man. This falls directly on them, and it's no way around that.
Yeah.
This was real.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this is just real false advertisement. The one thing that's so apparent to me through all this debacle is the missed opportunity they had with Silent Hill, man. A lot of people really wanted that game, man, and a game that's similar or quite
Well, this ain't
possibly
the
be
developer to
Silent
deliver
Hill.
that, though.
People are going crazy. No,
This is
they're not.
the developer to deliver a Silent Hill teaser trailer, but that's about it.
You got a super chat from Don Otaku that said the studio is a money laundering business, or that app is just stealing people's info.
I think
don't know.
that app personally. I think that app is there to see how much interest people have in the game, so they can go to whoever the fuck is funding them and say, "See, look, we got all these people that downloaded this app."
Hey, Fonz, you should download that app right now and give them your credit card information. Let us know what they do.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Hey, Lord
I can't have
Starkiller,
my
by the way.
credit card tied to either console. No thanks.
Well, Lord Starkiller, by the way, in the super chat, $10 super chat, he says blue box equals vaporware on abandon. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, man. They do need to be kind of checked out, and I wouldn't put the blame directly on Sony, but I think now that we know more, I think Sony do need to look into it. They do need to be kind of investigated there.
Yeah.
Rob Jones.
And as for the Silent Hill thing, like, do people actually really want like a Silent Hill, like the franchise as a whole?
Here goes
like
on them damn remakes again.
Like, listen, no, I'm just saying the franchise as a whole, like every game came out of Silent Hill, the franchise has 9 million sold. That's it. Like it's it's not like for reference, Resident Evil 5 like sold 11 million units on its own. Like I don't know, man. I don't think Silent Hill is something that's like
the problem with Silent Hill is that it was always in Resident Evil's shadow, and that was the problem. But the games are good games, man. They're good games. So
they're
solid.
Like, they're good games, man. Straight up.
Anybody that's played Silent Hill, like myself, love the game. I mean, for the most part, if you like horror games, I mean, there's a part the game begins. Just play the first scene. And then you'll need to know.
It can be like a scarier version of Resident Evil, like it's alter ego.
Scary.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, when the thing's running under the car. Listen, but this is, to be honest, when this, to bring up Silent Hill, not to really talk about the game, but the game. Well, this whole thing that's developed with the studio, it started out that this was the rumor that there was going to be a Silent Hill by Kojima, and then that got itself attached to this blue studio, and then people went on the conspiracy that's going to be, this is the game, and then they made the studio come out, even though they, like I said, they kind of played along for probably too long, and this is what it's morphed into. But the core of this whole thing, the way it tumbleweeded, is that Silent Hill by Kojima was the rumor that people wanted desperately. I mean, I remember reading a lot of forums, a lot of people were talking about it, and it was definitely morphed into this whole like, oh, they're giving me a hint here, and he lives on the same street with the same belt buckle, like it's like
hairstyle.
It's like
belt buckle.
Yeah, but it was all BS. And I just think, listen, if it's bullshit, it's going to show its face, and I think that it's shown its face, and I do think Sony should make a move on it and maybe say, hey, this is not indicative of our story. I wouldn't say cancel the game, but when you have something like that and you're pulling people's strings like that, a parent company definitely should say,
I mean, you're robbing people through their app, but
or
potentially
you're just wasting people's time.
Well, no one's bought anything yet.
Anyway, I want to move forward. I just think that fucking interesting. Like it is interesting in a way that they are potentially scamming people historically on Kickstarter, right? And canceling games and give us $25K and here's a blog today, that kind of stuff. But until I know more about the app, which maybe someone in the chat can check it out, my PlayStation's still boxed up. Then we just don't know enough. Like, does it know your email because you're signed into PS Network when you download it? Do they get that information? Right? I feel like they have to ask for that legally, but maybe who knows? It don't sound like they're doing a lot of shit legal, so we can go ahead and kind of assume that right now, just like the past 4 times or 5 times they've done this, it's probably a damn scam.
What kind of a monster would do that?
Yeah, Joe Rogan, correct. Smart guy. Hey, Rob Jones, by the way, shout out to him. He says, finally able to catch this live stream. What's up, dealer and panel and chat from the UK? It's late as hell over there, man. Thanks for joining us. He says, love your videos. Looking forward to the topics as usual. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate you, Rob. And then we've also got Ricky Falan. Shout out to you. He says, part 1, thanks for the prayers. Yes, sir. He says, I was in the hospital with my 1-year-old daughter, who was diagnosed with, I need to make this thing wider. One sec. It's cut off. Here we go. Who was diagnosed with leukemia. Man, we are, we're thinking about you, man. Seriously. And he is in the super chat again. I'll come back to that, but you already got Don's, right, Fonz? He says part 2, Ricky Falan, he says part 2 during our trips to her appointments. When we were just waiting, he did use xCloud a lot to pass the time. And yeah, he says he's so happy Xbox created that because it did help him in that time when he was kind of take his mind off probably the worst case. So
that's awesome.
We do appreciate you, Ricky. KY Bob, by the way, he says you have to admit it though. Abandon is driving home some real world advertising using an actual abandonment. Yeah, that's a word of mouth for you. So I'll come back to the other super chats, guys. Thank you very much.
Let me get this super chat real quick. Neo Vice Gaming, love the show, guys. From the guy who was second in line behind Fonz for the Series X pre-orders. Yes, that's the man I was talking about. When
the guy in the truck.
Yeah.
Oh man, he told us all about your truck and what the inside looked like. You guys went on a ride.
Oh my God, I never said any of that like that. But anyway,
y'all went on a ride.
Shout out to Neo Vice Gaming.
In a line.
Oh man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fonzer,
New fan of the show. That's great.
Shout out to him. He said that never mind. We'll just hold that story later. I'll tell you on Twitter. So let's go ahead and move forward here. Different topic. Shout out to 1,100 people watching this, guys. We do appreciate it. This one will go by quick, I think. Well, maybe. Yeah, it should. Xbox Series X and S 4K UI. Just wanted to throw that out there. They are doing this in a way, because historically I had said, no, I don't want a 4K UI if it takes away from the RAM, right? 2017's Xbox One X was supposed to have a 4K dash, but they said that they would need an extra gig of RAM to do so. Developers would only have 8 gigs, not 9. Devs really wanted that extra gig. Microsoft gave it to them. Therefore, you had the dash you have. Now, it's not that people act like they couldn't do this shit. Yeah, of course they could. Yeah. So now they said they got a 4K UI. It is out for insiders, and it does not take away the overall RAM for developers. So I'm guessing that they have done some other system optimizations here and freed up more RAM, perhaps even the new DVR, because that fucking thing is still broken, which blows my mind. Maybe the new one, it takes up less memory or something.
Windows is such it can be a resource hog. So I could see them pushing out an update to allow this to not really take up any resources. Because truth be told, running a 4K UI, really shouldn't be bogging down the system. I don't know how they have everything coded there. Maybe Zocker could probably answer that question better. But it really shouldn't be bogging down the system. So I think it's great that it has a 4K UI now, but it should have always had that. So it's not really something for me to celebrate.
Well, I've been worried. I've been worried this whole generation because I'm like, wow, when are the Xbox going to join the next generation? Because right now I'm looking at this 1080p screen.
I've been waiting on that 4K dash so I can go next gen.
I know. And that's what people.
You know what it is, man.
Everybody told me.
On the last gen consoles, they had to hold the OS and RAM because the damn thing, the 5400 RPM drive is so damn slow. And I think this one now, the SSDs are so quick they can access it and it not actually even bother with the RAM, maybe.
Yeah, the funny thing for me was I didn't even really pay it no attention for the longest until probably 3 days ago or 4 days ago. I turned on my PlayStation 5 and I was like, dang, this dashboard is real sharp. And I was like, why does this it looks so good? And then I was like, oh yeah, it's 4K. And then I went to the Xbox one and I was like, oh yeah, this is bad.
You said, I can't play this trash.
I was like, oh, this is bad. So this is a great change that they're actually making. It doesn't make or break anything. It just takes away another narrative that people were out there using to compare the systems. But overall, it doesn't really make a difference. But who wants to see 1080p on their brand new OLED screen when it comes to that? Nobody wants to see it. So that's a great thing that they're actually doing.
Where's the HDR?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm kind of paranoid about that a little bit. I don't know if I want HDR blaring statically on the home screen.
I don't
you better have some really good screensaver stuff going on in the options.
And it's not needed. Like how are they grading the colors for that fucking dashboard?
But you know what is annoying though, D, is every time you want to go play a game, that on the C9 CX, that black screen in between the transitions of the dash and the game, it's just it's too damn long. That's too damn long.
Yeah, that's something in EDID, the way it's talking to the TV. That's something that Microsoft and LG they gotta fix the way it's talking to each other, because it talks, it does that quick, now you're in instant response, and it's annoying. It happens with it's partially the TV too, because it does happen with other stuff. When I'm on PC, it happens from time to time. So I just think they gotta work on the way the devices, on the handshakes for the devices. I think that's what it is. I just want to say on the 4K thing though, real quick, is that I know what you're saying, that 1080p, you're not on the screen so long, but in all honesty, like when I cracked open my PlayStation 5 and the UI blasted up and and is walking me through that crispness. Like it is apparent when you have a 4K TV, and the first impression is a lasting impression. And just being honest, the dashboard on the PlayStation 5, I did notice it. I know I'm not the average Joe, but I did notice that it was a lot sharper. So personally, I think it's good that Microsoft Series X and Series S are going to have the 4K UI, but it should have been there from the start, man.
And it's only from the tests. This isn't on the Series S. It's only on the X. So that's what people need to know. And it doesn't have HDR. And it's also coming with like a bunch of other stuff they're bringing in, like night mode, and then you're able to change your controller LED brightness.
Better be able to do that. Yeah.
And even the Xbox power button and stuff. So like, yeah, I mean, hey, if it's 4K, it's 4K. Cool. Like
What about the S? Is it going to get 1440p screen? Because
they don't have anything going on.
So if they don't have anything there, then they probably are affecting RAM there. So that's interesting.
Listen, the developer said that it's a concern, and that's why they're flighting it. They've definitely tweaked areas. There's some people that say that elements of the UI are 4K. It's not a full 4K screen. Obviously, that's going to be debatable and looked at. But one of the things that it shows that that Xbox is getting better over time, and that's always been the case with Xbox because they get more hold of the hardware, the software, and this kind of ties into a thing that I saw on Twitter with Digital Foundry, how they revisited Control and they ran a test on it, and they noticed that without a game update, that the game now performs almost flawlessly at 60, where it was a big problem. And Anthony, I think Bateriga, if I missed his name up, I'm sorry.
The German guy.
Yeah, the very smart guy said that it was the tools, or that he suggested that.
Well, Tim, we're going to go into all that damn detail later in the show. Damn it!
Well, I'm looking at the thing. There's nothing in here on that. So
yeah, there is. There's a whole topic on it.
I'm looking on it.
Xbox Series consoles boosted to Digital Foundry. Just little things.
Well,
Fox didn't work for me.
I actually didn't think you had it. Okay,
no, it's fine. We're definitely gonna talk about that, and I want to talk about that because again, it's to get more vindication. Just a little bit, another step. It's just a little piece of the puzzle that these guys will see over time, and that's gonna be super fun. But again, 4K dash. Like, is anybody? I'm not like stoked about it. Do I even have it? I'm checking for a system update right now. Actually,
it's for
I didn't even know
tests.
we were getting it.
Xbox insiders only.
Yeah, I'm like the closest to the closest insider update.
Yeah, it's for alpha and alpha and skip ahead.
Yeah. I'm skip
honestly,
ahead.
if it did bog down the system at all, I don't want it. Like, I don't care about a 4K dash.
Yeah,
it shouldn't. It shouldn't any slower. If it makes it any slower whatsoever, I don't want it. I don't care. I don't stare at the PlayStation 5 dashboard. I don't care.
You don't turn it on.
What are you talking about? I do all the time because there's no games on it.
Oh my God!
I'm joking. God,
wow. Shit!
Whoa,
Ghost
shit!
is dropping Friday, fellas.
Oh man, you just
lost
You just lost all the people that watch your content on your channel.
Are you telling me? Wait. Are you telling me they abandoned me?
Oh yeah.
You're toxic. Is that failed Pyromancer in the chat? Is that the real one? Because that motherfucker said he was blocked, and I've been looking for him. I couldn't find him, and that would explain why.
I don't know. He might have been. Who knows?
Let's see.
But overall, though, on the idea of the UK, I do think it is important, and I was disappointed when they said that they had to do it, but it was something that I definitely had to live with. It's not a make or break thing for me. D, I think, sold it the best, told it the best, where, it's a first experience to see when you're a console, and it's very smart that Xbox, especially Series X, can, at least look, it's just, so even if, whatever, they're working something right where it's 4K, and people who've used it say it's very noticeable. So, it's good on Xbox to get that. That was a big thing. I think that was, something that they needed to work on. But I'm happy that they're always doing stuff like that and listening and trying to improve the experience. And this one was just out of nowhere. I think it was a good Xbox day. I think people are very happy with the system right now. It just keeps delivering.
I'm
And
gonna
it
make a
will.
video before Rand does. F
But,
this. Making it right now.
Impossible.
Well, have you tried it? You've tried it, right?
No, I'm still gonna make a video. Never did it, but it's coming, guys.
Hey,
no, you have the
yeah,
you have the
weeks from now.
CX.
Chinook guy, definitely. We'll be getting into all that stuff, man. But yeah, the 4K update itself shouldn't be making the console run better per se. Why does
I don't
the
think so.
dashboard being 4K make the games run better? Yeah, I don't. To my knowledge, that's not exactly what they were saying. But we'll come back to that. Acute Perspective, $10 super chat. Shout out to you. Says after all the Sony Scooby Doo Blues Clues. Blue Man Group, social media mystery. Oh my God, mystery machine conspiracy. Boy, you did this on purpose.
Motherfucker said Blue's Clues.
For those, for those peaky kids and the Sony fans in July, State of Play down, thumbs down. Makes Microsoft Game Pass E3 event phenomenal. Yes, sir. And by the way, people were saying that I was saying stuff about State of Play last week. It's like, no, I never said anything about the State of Play being next week or whatever. Like, Rand had to tell me this at a party. He's like, yeah, people are saying that you said that State of Play. And I was like, what people? The crackheads that don't even watch the show? I'm not worried about it. Like, it is what it is. So it's just kind of putting that out there. Anyway, I think we're done with the 4K UI bullshit.
Yeah, we're
right?
done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why would we talk about State of Play?
What are you confirming about State of Play right now?
Yeah, it was just boring as shit. Moving on.
Oh,
God,
You're so
I
toxic.
don't care, man. I'm done with that bullshit, man. I have a PS5. I want to use it. So
Dang.
This one has been very, very, very.
You trying to
very
say that
quiet.
you haven't used your PS5 in
I've
some
beaten
time?
Spider-Man. I've beaten Ratchet and Clank. I play. You could go look. I play my shit.
No. We're not saying you ain't playing. So what's the last thing you played on it?
Ratchet and Clank.
Oh,
But if that was on PC, you would never use your PS5.
Hell no, I wouldn't.
Well,
Sony has been very quiet. Not to.
And no, and they have, and it's September, people. It's coming up on September, where it's been a year since they've had a pretty big event, and I want them to have one. I do. I want
You
to
can
see
make
what
a
they're
video.
bringing
I want
out.
to see it.
I want to see God of War. I want to see all these other games. I want to see them. Like
Yeah.
that's just me. Like as a gamer, like hey,
Don't
as
even need a
publisher,
big
do
event,
something.
bro. You don't even need a
Just
big
need a
event. You have a
moderately-
big State of
a
Play.
medium event.
No, give me a big event. F that. Don't go small.
No,
go big.
why?
shit.
I just want to see the games anyway. Show me God of War. Show me some
That
gameplay.
is a big
show me
event,
some-
though.
That's
with
a
God of
big
War.
event.
That's what I said.
don't need
It could
snake
be a
charmers
State of
there.
Play. It could be a big State of Play. It doesn't need to be an event.
Well, why not have an event instead of a State of Play?
Because I don't want to see freaking Jim Ryan walk out there.
But wasn't Xbox's E3 an event?
Yeah, you have to have some kind of connection with the fans. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's fine, but I just
should
wanna
have
see the
you
games,
should have
bro.
a state of listen. You should have a state of address, whatever company you have, Microsoft, Apple. You should have like those. I mean, listen, I love those things for Xbox. Those things are things that are great. I don't want. I mean, I would be okay with Xbox. Inside Xbox, but not only inside Xbox. I gotta have that big, deal show.
They got rid of that. They got rid of
You know,
Inside
and-
Xbox. Really, they don't really do
I
it.
know,
They do
but
like
I know,
this
but-
week on Xbox, and they have
Yeah,
a
I
5-minute
don't-
video, and it's great. That's it. That's all we need.
Yeah,
I don't mean to hate, say that I don't like any type of event. Yeah, that's fine, but all I need to see is the games. Like,
Yeah,
if
I
they just
understand what you're
canceled all the
saying.
events and just showed games and gameplay, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I think Xbox's E3 was an event, though, and they fucking knocked it out of the park. So I think you can manage that and balance that. And I think Sony
And
has some games that are
why
worth.
was it knocked out of the park? Because they showed
Because,
games.
but it was
Well,
still
they
an
won-
event. You know what I'm
they
saying? That's my
won-
point. That
They,
is still an
they
event.
won MP3. I mean, they won the MPD that month,
Hell yeah.
and they sold a ton that month. So they definitely got a boost, and that's the whole thing. Like you have a big event like that, you have a boost, you get attention, people buy your stuff. So that they did win, and obviously this month they lost, and they
I
don't
don't
want
even
to talk
know what
about
happened
Florida.
this month. Actually,
No.
Xbox isn't reported, is it?
Right, yeah, but they weren't the top. Top was PlayStation 5, but and then Switch sold the most units. But the fact is that they weren't talking about shortages then. So you got to give Xbox a little credit there that they did win that MPD in June, and they garnered a lot of attention. I'm just saying, listen, I don't know, maybe I see this through through a fan that's been Xbox and been to all the shows. I just don't know. I wouldn't want to give up a big show like of those things where you can even visit like next year and stuff like that. Whereas it's just being purely digital only, it just doesn't seem connected to me in my way. And listen, I think that Sony might be doing what you're saying, Fonzarelli. They might be just, doing the shows, and they do get a lot of hype when they do show these shows. It just, it depends on what they show and stuff like that.
They
but
should show Abandon.
you can't deny that they do when they do show Horizon. Everyone stops.
I'll agree. There's a hype among, when you have an audience watching live and you're showing that kind of stuff, there's more hype generated for sure. You hear the hype in the crowd, and it's
it's not just the hype. It's not just the hype. Like when Sony didn't have a show for what was it, like 2.5 years, and then they had one last year in June and another one September. Like I was excited. People were excited. That shit, like people watched it. Like they were excited for it because it's the build up to it, and then not to mention we all love watching it. Like, yeah, sure, sometimes we don't like the people coming out and talking, which Xbox cut that out a lot in their event, which I think that was a big reason why I kicked ass, because it was all about the games, and that's something that Sony did. Give credit to Jim Ryan. He's like, we're not going to do the talking, the games are. Then he rolled the freaking footage. That's what I want to see. Isn't it? There you go, Jim.
Hey, you gotta give a shout out to Meat Puppet. Channel member, he says, hit the like button. Shout out to you, brother. And again, guys, we do have 1,300 people here watching. Guys, if you haven't considered the like button, let's try to get closer to 1,000 for the end of the show. Share it with a buddy or two, and get the word out there. We do appreciate it. We do have a few more super chats I want to get over real quick. Husk, shout out to ACS Husk. He says, glad you guys aren't trying to smother Tim Dog with a pillow this week. Can't wait to play. Can't wait to play Fortnite Among Us. What the? Oh, you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. He says, hashtag here comes Debo.
Fortnite Among Us.
I guess. I don't know. Lord Starkiller, shout out to him, $10 Super J. He says, I prefer optimized games over a 4K dashboard. Yes, but apparently you get both, Starkiller. That's my thing, right? So as long as they don't compromise on RAM limitations, which they don't, because anybody running a 4K dash then wouldn't be able to go back and play things like Assassin's Creed that was built for a certain amount of RAM, right? Yeah, apparently that's not the case, right? So you can go back and play whatever, and it still apparently will run better thanks to a topic later in the show. So that is all good news in my book. But you know what's not good news is developers speaking out and being really, really not understood in what they're saying, or even the legalities of what's happening here. I think it's much bigger than what people think. It reminds me of the Black Widow thing that we were talking about, Zucker, where Scarlett Johansson sued Disney for, she was supposed to get compensated for royalties, right? And because Disney put the thing in Disney Plus, she apparently was bypassed some royalties. Now, the People Can Fly developers, the guys behind Outriders, trash. Well, they're saying
it's good.
They're saying
the
the sales information is not available on behalf of the publisher, so they're not supplying sales data, but they have not received royalties from sales of the game. Though Square Enix has suggested that they are more than happy with the deals and numbers associated with the game, and this actually could be a case of, well, the publisher, for one, isn't telling the developer information they need to know, which is probably important. And also, since they were promised royalties, you're looking at a scenario where developers are going to go back. This is going to happen more and more. Developers are going to end up suing a lot of these publishers or whoever's involved with distribution and making these deals, because they were not chipped in on the service deals like Game Pass, right? So just like Black Widow, just like Scarlett Johansson going back and suing Disney because she didn't get that royalty she should have got, whatever. These developers are basically going to need to be directly involved in the dealings, the management of those deals when it comes to services. Though we've already heard about how the game exceeded Square Enix's expectations, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what is the big takeaway here? I mean, people are trying to say that the game failed because of Game Pass now, even though it exceeded the publisher's expectations. It's really a case of People Can Fly just were not tuned in or clued in on the deal there between Xbox and Square Enix.
This is a case of People Can Fly using social media to basically help themselves, right? Like that's what Scarlett Johansson's doing. That's what a lot of people do. They use the media and go out and have people basically champion them against publishers or against Disney, so they can get the money that they think they deserve. So these people, like the Game Pass, they probably didn't get money from that. The publisher did, because they paid them a lump sum to make the game. And then in the contract you have, hey, if the game sells this much, you'll get this much money. And now they don't know what the sales are, which is bad. They should be telling them what the sales are, but also how many people are playing it. So now it is a contract thing where it's like, all right, well, if it's on Game Pass, like, does that change it, right? Just like Scarlett Johansson, hey, it's on Disney Plus for $30, and my contract says I don't get any of that. You know, she might not win. Scarlett Johansson. These people might not win because it's not in your contract, and not to mention, like, so it's like, well, you signed that contract.
That's why I mentioned. That's why I said that all these guys are going to go back and update their contracts, and contracts should be written differently.
Yeah, and
it's a new world now, man.
To speak on what you were saying with Square Enix president Yosuke Matsuda, I probably butchered that. He said that in June, the digital sales ratio for the title have been very high, and the number of active users have also beaten our expectations. Now, that sounds like it's glowing, right? This is obviously a dispute between the two companies, People Can Fly and, of course, Square Enix, over a contract dispute. This is about royalties based on game sales. And, you know, this is the thing. This is Square Enix we're talking about. A company that once was disappointed with Tomb Raider sales at 3.4 million copies in the first month. They say at that time they said that they needed like 6 million copies that first month to comfortably meet investment for that game. Okay, this is also the same company that spent so much marketing on the Avengers, then complains, you know what, we spent too much marketing on the Avengers, and we probably won't recoup our costs for that game. So this company, you know, is notorious for spending so much on marketing and so much, you know, it's not just marketing. They also spend money on, of course, they pay the developers to make the game, and then, you know, distribution, all that, everything that publishers do. So they need to recoup their costs. This is what was in their contract. They get the royalties after they recoup their costs. Now, we're talking about Outriders here. Let's be honest, guys. We were talking about this. I enjoyed the game.
I did too.
Enjoyed the game. You enjoyed the game. Forte enjoyed it. A lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of Xbox dudes enjoyed it, right? And one of the main reasons why we enjoyed it so much, despite its shortcomings, was because it was indeed in Game Pass day one. Because this game dropped unplayable for so many people. All the reviews reflected that. They talked about the bugs in the game. They talked about how this game wasn't so great anyway, aside from the bugs, okay? It was a good game. It was fun. But even like me, I said I beat the game and I immediately uninstalled it. Because, yeah, the bugs and stuff, I didn't care for it. Like, I just didn't want to mess with it after that. So you get a game like this with no hype, bad reviews, and it being broken at launch. This is probably the reason why it didn't meet expectation for Square Enix. Not the fact that, you know, Game Pass is ruining this or whatever, and that's why they're not paying the royalties or whatever. This just did not meet expectation because it came out in such poor shape. That's the bottom line. That's what we're talking about here. It's like, if you look at all the critics and everybody that, you know, was talking about this game, they talked about this at length about how this was broken. And so many people aren't going to buy the game because it's broken. There's two other platforms out there. Market leading platform. You're talking about Sony and Steam. They could have bought this game. They did. They bought the game. But how many? We don't know that. As gamers, we don't know that. People Can Fly don't even know the numbers on how many copies were sold because they're not being told that from Square Enix. This is something that a lot of people are jumping the gun. They're speculating. And I've always stated, guys, if you make a great game, people will buy it. But if you make a great game and it comes out like this, people won't buy it.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Here's
let Fonz finish up, and then we'll kind of.
Here's what I'd say in the end for this. Okay, so a lot of people are saying that, you know, Game Pass is the reason for this and blah blah blah. It's just a lot of fanboy nonsense talking points. But at the end of the day, I would argue that Game Pass is what gave it the most attention and engagement it had.
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think it was successful. It was successful, man, and it was on Game Pass. You know, Square Enix got the money, and I think it's an issue with them. I think Dealer's right. This is a new wave. It's a new era. It's a new way of doing things. Game Pass is relatively new, and some of these contracts are going to definitely need to be reworked. But I don't think this is anything to do with Game Pass. The game did well on Game Pass. Like everybody said on the panel, most Xbox gamers liked it. It was also on other platforms. This is a thing that Square Enix has to work out with the developers.
It's even possible that they did this on purpose to avoid paying royalties.
It is possible, because let's just be honest here. Big companies, they do anything that they can to save that dollar.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is they want to make as much money as possible. Now, if they find a loophole where they don't have to pay out as much money, you better believe your bottom dollar, they're going to use that loophole to not pay you out.
Hey, there's no coincidence. For one, first and foremost, if this game failed on Game Pass or did not do well on Game Pass, which again, they've only said it otherwise up to this point, then this is the first game we've ever heard of that didn't do well on Game Pass. And I don't believe it for a second.
Yeah.
Secondly, this is not a coincidence that this developer comes out and says this right around the time of the news of Scarlett Johansson suing Disney for the same thing happens. It's not like he's like, oh yeah. I should, it's not a coincidence.
Listen, back in May, Square Enix said that it was the company's next major franchise because they had 3.5 unique players in April, and it was because of Outriders.
3.5?
3.5 million unique users, not the same. Not like all the
Listen,
it's unique.
I think right now we're getting into both sides of the argument, both sides of the disagreement. It seems that people can fly, think that they should be awarded more money that they have been given, and it seems like that's where the dispute is. Now, that's all fine and dandy, but to try to equate this difference in opinion to Game Pass did that to them is stupid. Like it's just not. They have nothing to do with each other. You know what I mean? Like Xbox paid their bill, they got their deal done. They don't have a problem.
Yeah.
So that's their problem that they have to sort between each other, and then people trying to just like drag Game Pass into it. Listen, like Fawn said, Game Pass helped the game a ton. The game was in a shoddy mess when it came out. Let's be honest, it had a lot of problems, but people loved it because they played it and it was good enough, and they there was nothing at the time, and it did well, and it did better than you would. They definitely did better than I think that they expected, and that's why they want more money. Well, will it get sorted out if it goes to court? It will be. If not, maybe
I don't think it will.
They get a settlement, or they come to a settlement, or come to an agreement. Because
Dealer hit it on the head, though, Tim. I think at the beginning when he said that it's just going to make these companies have to rewrite contracts and do something different for the future. This is a learning lesson for developers. It really is. Because of course, a service like Game Pass is going to have an impact on game sales. Of course it is. I mean, that goes without saying. So if you have a contract based on royalties, based on game sales, Game Pass will impact that to a degree. But if you come out with a game that isn't hyped and that is a buggy mess or broken, that's on you. That's why a lot of people didn't buy it on those other two platforms, because people are speculating they only sold maybe between 3 and 5 million copies. If that's the case, that means it didn't sell very well on Steam, nor did it on PS5. So it's not just the case of, Xbox guys didn't buy it. No, Xbox guys played the crap out of this game. But in Game Pass,
they were probably the most engaged out of all the platforms, man. So
I agree.
It's nothing to do with Game Pass. It's the developer, man, and they need to square that up and deal with it.
Tim nailed it too, though. You're dragging something into it when it's really between Square Enix and People Can Fly, their arrangement, and it looks like Square definitely, this game is being made 3-4 years ago, so things need to be rewritten, updated, and going forward, you will see developers covering their butt in their contracts as they should. The professor, by the way, shout out to him, is a good comment. $10 Super Chase says the measurement of sales versus player engagement is being rewritten when it comes to gaming. Spotify changed the narrative and was polarizing back then. When it did this, Game Pass is basically attracting the same attention, good or bad. When you change the way things are done, you've got to kind of think about things like royalties and all this other stuff. when new factors are introduced, you know?
Dealer, publishers are greedy. Newsflash, right?
Mhm.
Publishers are greedy. And this is, and I'm not going to get into it, but this is the case I always make for $70 games. I'm always like, that extra $10 isn't going towards those developers, people. It's going to the publishers.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's
Hey, boys.
honestly, I think this is a very good discussion, and I have to say, just a lot of just well spoken and really covered this well. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm hoping that they can come to an agreement and they can fix this. But yeah, in the day and age, there's so many things that are changing. Just like physical sales at the beginning of last gen, that was the biggest thing. And then, like, I see people posting stuff like UK sales, Xbox is 7%. Like, at this point, it's like almost everything is going all digital.
That's UK physical, and that's zero. That's less than 1% of the representation of that region.
Right,
overall.
exactly. But like the thing is that those are now outdated, metrics. The thing is that I think that this is probably at its core, like that the person in the chat said, like rewritten the argument of players to sales, because let's be honest, they had a tremendous amount of players, and that should be in a way monetized for them. So I do think that moving forward, developers and I hate to say it, they gotta hire probably legal teams or people that know what they're doing. Like, people can fly. Who knows what their budget is? You think that they really had a big budget looking into the contract and what's in it and what's at it? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they got a raw deal, but the fact is that this is now becoming something that needs to be discussed and needs to be looked at. And honestly, if you're a developer, you need to protect yourself.
And the anime rapper
hold
in the
on, fellas,
chat said,
hold
up.
Let-
He says,
I gotta
"People
head
can
out.
fly
That's
are a
Zucker's got to
victim of
leave.
Game
Zucker's got to
Pass."
leave.
I just want to say bye to you guys, to the chat. You guys
Oh,
are
man.
awesome, and everybody. Sorry, I stayed a little longer as I could,
No,
but
we
I
love
gotta
it.
head out.
Thank you, Zach.
Later,
You
bro.
guys are awesome.
Be
Yeah, man. Of
easy.
course.
Take it
I
easy,
had to come
Zucker.
once I heard Gaming Forte was on. I was like, I got to get on. He's gonna shit the
man.
bed.
Yeah, we got to let Forte. We got some other topics, Forte. I promise you can talk.
I know,
I'm joking. Later, chat.
Later.
Later,
the
Forte.
anime rapper says that, people can fly are a victim of Game Pass. No. People can fly are a victim of themselves creating a buggy, messy game at launch.
That's not
and
the
also,
issue, though.
they are
that's not
they
the
are
issue at
also a
all.
victim. They are also a victim of their contract. Okay, the contract they agreed upon. This has nothing to do with Game Pass, because
Nothing.
these publishers are the ones that make deals with wherever they decide to publish these games, put these games out, and they know this going in. So I mean, they need to work out the logistics with when it comes to all this ease and all this stuff, because the landscape is changing. It's digital gaming from here on out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's number one now.
Well,
Like,
I mean-
not as many people are buying physical anymore.
Well, a lot of people, when they think about a game doing well or bad or whatever, they think about, Billy going home, he stick his $60 into his disk drive, and he buys a game. And that $60 goes to people can fly. No, like Square Enix paid to build a game. They paid their salaries. That's really mostly the cost of building a game is the salaries of all these talented people that build it, right?
Great.
So
I'm glad
that's
you brought that up.
if that's the case, that's just something people got to keep in mind. The money went to Square Enix for the deal. People Can Fly didn't see any of that money, so it's got nothing to do
I'm
with
glad
Game
you
Pass.
pointed
It's
that
not a
out.
big deal.
Because some people were out there on Twitter saying stuff like, "Oh, they didn't get paid at all." I'm like, dude, they got paid to make the game. This is a royalty dispute. This is based on more money coming in based on game sales. That's it.
I want to base
saw-
the show on a different topic, though. We should do that because I think we did. Tim's right. We did cover this pretty in depth. And we do got about 1,400 people watching, guys. Thank you for showing up. We do appreciate you. Hit the like button, tell a friend, retweet it, all that good stuff. And of course, we're having a blast here, guys. So if you can hit the like, maybe get up closer to 1,000 for the end of the show, we'd appreciate it. To get a couple super chats I'll get to while we transition here. Doovie, by the way, in the super chat says, I played Outriders a ton on Xbox, and then he bought it on PC. See? He wasn't even going to play the game at all, and then ended up buying a copy on PC, and he used the service that got them that chunk of money, Square Enix, that is. Then we got Hagrid. He does say, Returnal was a hit at 560,000 sales, but 3 to 5 million isn't enough. He says that's a lot for those games. You're right. Square Enix's expectations, Fonz, are really, really crazy. Like they
really are.
I don't really understand that. So Hagrid continues by saying RE Village is about 3 million. So that's already sold 3 million sales, and no, that didn't do well. He says that did well. I'm gonna be like, nope, that didn't do well. They needed 18 million in the first 3 hours. You know, that's just how it seems these days. And then we've got one more. Davari, shout out to you. He says, look at the sales of GTA 5 after it left Game Pass. It promotes games and DLC sales. Yes, that's actually something I wanted to come to next. Grand Theft Auto 5 sales did hit a spike when it left Game Pass, and people don't understand. They're thinking this. These troglodytes. They're thinking that because it was in Game Pass, they weren't. You know, hey, we're not going to actually get this game. You know, but now we're going to get it because it's not in Game Pass. We don't have a choice. No, you got to remember that it's because it was in Game Pass and people started playing it, right? Because it was in the service and it left. They're like, crap, I really liked that game. This is part of how Game Pass boosts game sales. Like, I don't know if these people understand that.
Imagine you were into the online aspect of the game, and that's it. Bam, it's out of Game Pass. You have all these hours invested. You're gonna want to dump the $20 to get the game. So yeah, for sure, man. Game Pass. There's so many games in Game Pass that you'll try that you would never have tried before, and like, you know, getting Outriders on PC or whatever. It's an awesome tool. You get it on PC, on freaking console, on your cell phone, on your cloud device. Like, I don't know how people are trying to shit on Game Pass. Game Pass is the best thing in gaming right now, hands down.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, I guess.
Dealer, I just want to say thank you for not having 2K footage today.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry. I just, today, by the way, today is Call of Duty Cold War with my buddy Costanza. We've seen him in the chat and stuff before, and some other of his friends, 40 and all those guys. So, I go down a lot in this game because it's been so long since I played zombies. It's like, holy crap. But this is running on Series X, and, it looks pretty decent. So enjoy me dying. Also, we do have yet another super chat from Lord Starkiller. Shout out to you, brother. He says Game Pass, their bill. Square Enix needs to pay their bill. Game Pass is not at fault. Yeah, Square Enix should cut in the developer a little bit more, or at least give them royalties out of that chunk of money they got. That's how I feel. But technically, legally, they didn't agree to that. So I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. They didn't mention going to court or nothing, right, Fonz?
I haven't heard nothing on that. No.
It'll kind of be hard to do that when the publisher flipped the bill for the game and stuff.
Exactly.
You're going to start seeing a lot more people trying to fund their own games. That's why, because if you go through a publisher, you're kind of at the mercy of how they want to produce and distribute that game.
Gotta get that contract rewritten.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this goes back for many, many decades when you're talking about the relationship between developers and publishers. I mean, we've discussed greedy publishers for years. I mean,
well,
nothing new here.
My thing is they just should. My whole thing is I love the game. I enjoyed it. I put well over 40 hours into that game. And my biggest problem is when I saw all of this is you're complaining about the royalties that you're missing, and there's still people out there that can't even get access to their account. You can't even get into the game, bro. Like,
is it still broken that bad?
Yo, it's still broken that bad, bro. Like, shout out to people like Cognito and stuff that literally gave them 3 weeks to fix it, and it took almost a month for them to fix it. So they don't. I mean, look, word of mouth works in many different ways, and it definitely works in the fact where a lot of people I know, especially that played that game on PC, that had 100 hours in the game, and they just stopped playing it. And those are the hardcore people that talk about your game in the best of light and try to get as many people, especially in a cross-play, cross-progression game like that was, and they just stopped talking about it because, look, people that fly didn't respect their time when it came to the game that they were actually playing, and, this is kind of what happened. So just imagine if they would have took the time to make sure that game was functional the way it should have been, they probably would have got way more engagement, way more sales. That game launched at the beginning of April, and it's pretty much almost a dead game, and we're only 4 months out.
They didn't expect anybody to play the damn game. That's why they didn't put some bread ties on the damn Ethernet cables in the servers. Like, there's all kinds of issues with it. Hargeet, by the way, He says, well, this kind of ties right in and we can move forward. He says, a more interesting question is, should Microsoft and by extension Sony with PlayStation Now have some standards for payment with developers or to developers with, publishers, right? Like we're talking about if they're on Game Pass. So, I mean, it's going to be 100% up to, it does, for one, there's two factors. Does the publisher own the development team? If that's the case, they are their employees. They, I don't know if they can individually try to get those things. Secondly, if they're not owned by them, like People Can Fly are not owned by Square, that's all in the contract. They have to get that updated and say, hey, look, if you get this much engagement or this much revenue off of Game Pass, we want X amount. And that's got to be, that's what I say. Stuff's got to be rewritten.
And then there's a lot of developers that are self-published right into Game Pass, and it's
and they don't got to worry about it.
It's not a deal at all.
Yeah, they have to worry about it. Yeah, I think the only thing Xbox needs to worry about, honestly, because none of the stuff you just mentioned is anything to do with them. I just want them to really worry about the quality control of some of the games and stuff. For the most part, games. Yeah, that's the only thing that I kind of hold Xbox kind of at fault for. For the most part, most of these games are pretty good, but when you get those games like Outriders and The Ascents, and I know some people didn't have problems with games like The Ascent, but a lot of people did, and I feel like that's the thing that they kind of need to focus on, because if they're going to flip the bill for these games to be in these services, they should at least get their money's worth, to the point where people aren't talking bad about their service, because that's all it basically breeds is, oh, Game Pass has these games in it that barely work day one, and that kind of is like the only thing that kind of is bad for Microsoft in general. But outside of that, they really have nothing else to try to accomplish from this. They flip the bill for the games to give people the experiences they want when they can get them available. They just need to do a better job of making sure the games they pick actually work when they go in there.
Yeah, and again, Raiden Blade says it perfectly. What I've already said. He says Square agreed to publish a game. People Can Fly. Yeah, Square accepted. I mean, he says it's between People Can Fly and Square Enix, and again, you're 100% right. It's I want to be done with this topic too. Trust me. We got to end it on this one. And it's actually nothing to do with it. It's great. Shout out to our friend from Canada, X Burke, who does say, with a $10 super chat, he says, because of Game Pass, I purchased a deluxe flight sim version. Not only that, but the Thrustmaster full kit, Razer mouse and keyboard. All of this when he didn't give a crap about flight sim before Game Pass launch. It works. Yeah. And that's the power of it, right? So again, shout out to those guys. Shout out to everyone in the chat, guys. Let's go ahead and move forward. GTA 5 sales went up after it left Game Pass. Like I said, it's because the people that were playing it wanted it and it wasn't on there, so they had to buy it. They even had a week or two to buy it at a discount, and maybe they didn't know, but anyway, it does spike sales. Sales went up because of those people that were in Game Pass, so that's good. We've also got, well, crap, Zachary's not even here. I wanted him to cover this little Sea of Thieves update real quick. I mean, I can just sum it up for you. It's a microtransaction trailer, is what it is. So, Sea of Thieves Pirate Emporium update. There was a trailer for this, and basically it's a bunch of microtransactions that are showing off in the trailer with some, there's some free stuff in there, but it's primarily microtransaction stuff for those that were asking me on Twitter, stuff like that.
Zakro buy them all.
Yeah, Zakro buy them all.
Ian already bought them.
Yeah, and then
I pre-ordered the microtransactions.
But hey, maybe some of you in the chat have went in there and you found something. A little monkey with a little Davy Jones beard. Let us know your thoughts.
Oh man,
you can't do that.
Well, one thing I heard, did you see that it had 4.8 million players since, or just in the unique players in the month of June?
It's still going.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, every time they come out with a new update, they get a huge influx of returning players and new people that are jumping in for the first time. So that's the main reason why Rare hasn't really wanted to work on anything else, because they know if they continue to keep pumping into this game, they're going. It's never going to end. A lot of people knew this was going to be the possibility. It just comes down to them actually keeping the content up. That was never. The game itself was never a problem. It was the content that was available in the game day one. As they started putting more and more content into that game, more people found a reason to come back. And just like the opposite for Outriders, word of mouth spread. People like pirates, and that stuff just spread like wildfire.
It's perfect for Game Pass. It's the reason you've got the track builder in Forza Horizon 5, right? It's a win-win. You can build new stuff and events for the community, and it's free content, and it keeps people coming back potentially if it's done right and orchestrated right. But let us know if you've tried it. I was surprised to see a trailer on stuff that you can buy. And then, like I said, they've added some new things other than that, but really the gist of the trailer, the big stuff is the stuff that you have to buy. And if you've got the gold, right, you can earn in-game stuff like that. But let us know if you've spent any money on that in terms of the in-game gold and how much some stuff costs. The game's definitely come far. Now, what hasn't come far is PlayStation 5's backwards compatibility. Crisis Trilogy confirmed to be running at 1440p. Now, there's some journalists out there that are instantly blaming back compat or whatever. But do we even know what this is running at on the Series X, or what's going on with that? Is anybody in tune with that at all? The Crisis Trilogy?
No,
I don't know what res it's running at now.
I was the last one I was really disappointed in. So
Yeah.
Crisis got to really get off the ball and do something else.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah, I don't know what it's running on the Series X. Let us know if you guys know in the chat.
Oh, I got the info here. 580p.
580p internally, projected to 8K.
Is that thing on Switch?
I'm just playing.
580p to rock solid 17 frames. Hey, okay, let's talk about something that's actually really fucking interesting. Xbox rumored to be working on a massive deal with Take-Two. Now, I don't know if one of you guys could say it's not true. It is true. This is something that was sent to me a lot today, and I wanted to cover it regardless because people are curious about this. Take-Two, the guys that build Grand Theft Auto, they own Rockstar, they own, Staroff Zelenik. He said, we don't think we're microtransactioning them enough. That guy. They make Red Dead. Anyone?
Yeah, I don't know anybody who likes written. Of course I do.
Love it.
Yeah.
Red
Take-Two. If this is true, that's man. This could be the deal that Microsoft needs to win holiday season, man, because their holiday season.
They're going to win holiday season anyway.
They should, but you know what? I don't underestimate people that want to get a PlayStation just to stare at it. So,
you mean NPD wise?
What exactly is the deal, though? What is the deal that's rumored?
I didn't see any deal that was rumored specifically. They're basically in
based
talks
around
with
2K.
Warner Brothers. 2K or Take-Two. Apparently, this isn't me fucking saying. I'm confirming shit.
Yeah.
I don't know shit about it, but yeah, apparently that's a rumor that's going around right now that they're in some kind of talks with Take-Two. And shout out to Nano for sending me this.
Yeah.
They're in talks with Take-Two for some kind of partnership deal. What could it be, Forte? Is it Grand Theft Auto 14?
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh man, listen, man. It just came. Grand Theft Auto West just came out, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the older ones go in there. You also got the rumors of the part 1, 2, and 3 being somewhat released sometime this holiday, so it could be something around that too. But they also have other games.
Hang on, what did you just say about Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, and 3?
1, 2,
remaster.
The remasters that are coming. Supposed
so
to.
We're not going to have the cell phone versions anymore on the. I want the cell phone version. Damn it!
Listen, man. We don't know, man. They still got cell phone graphics right now. We still trying to figure out if they remastering or remaking them. So
they're remastering and they're not remaking.
Yeah, they're definitely remastering them. But it could be that if it's anything, I mean, anybody would love if it's Grand Theft Auto related. It also could be something like 2K putting basketball in there because we see how good MLB did inside of there too. That's something that's coming out next month. So it depends on.
They already put 2K in there already. The last gen version. They need the next gen one now.
They didn't need the next gen version. So that definitely could always be. It's a bunch of different ways they can go about it. I just think in general, 2K's kind of shopping right now because they know it's a lot of competition towards the end of the year. And if they can get anything in there that is of note, it's probably inside the Game Pass.
What if it's 2K22 day one?
That's what I'm thinking. September 22nd. It happened if we hear something at Gamescom.
I thought it was September 10th the game came out.
No, September 10th the game comes out. You're right.
Spread misinformation for Jake. God,
I am. God,
I think the big
paid for it too.
Go ahead, D.
I think the bigger thing is probably the GTA trilogy. That would make sense if they could get that in Game Pass day and date, and have it in there for like 2 months, 3 months, whatever they decide on. I think that would be huge because we're hearing like that rumor, like it's like some credible sources, at least I should say, and it's more than one source, is stating that we are going to get the trilogy. They're saying that's basically going to be a remaster, but it's still going to have the feel and it's going to kind of stay close to the roots although it'll be a remaster. So let's see how that turns out. In all honesty, at this point, like a remaster, I don't know how I feel about a remaster. A remake, I think I could deal with a remake because, you know, some of those games are older, and if they brought it up, you know, with the new technology and everything, I think I could do with a remake. But I don't know, man.
You
I
want a
think
remake just so you can see their hands.
You know what? People will still buy a remaster.
Oh,
That's
no,
what
no,
was
no,
Grand
Of
Theft Auto,
course,
bro.
But it's the thing.
of course, without a doubt.
Yeah,
the
I
thing
played San
that's-
Andreas not too long ago. It was hard. It was really
Hard,
rough.
very hard.
Everyone had
tried
stick
to.
arms like, hey. I'm like,
Well, the cool thing
auto aim.
is they can find a way to integrate this inside of GTA Online. Like, has some type of, if you buy the game and you have some type of integration where GTA Online has certain aspects of the game that are kind of tied to the trilogy. Because I think that's probably the best case scenario that they're looking at, because they want to make as much money off of GTA as they possibly can. And if they can kind of tie online into that trilogy in some way, that's going to give them more time to basically just buy till GTA 6 comes out or whenever they're going to finally announce it.
Yeah.
That's gonna. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if this trilogy comes out this year, I would say next year we'll get the GTA 6. I think that's when we'd get it.
Ooh, man.
Nah.
Next year?
They're coming out with Grand Theft Auto again, repackaging it this
No.
holiday.
Yeah.
That ain't, no,
Auto
Grand
6.
Theft Auto 6 ain't coming until we see new systems again. When I mean
No.
mid-gen.
We're gonna get one.
We'll get one this generation.
2000. No, we'll get it this generation. We'll have new upgraded systems at that point.
I think
too.
you'll
Yeah.
hear about it first here on it in 2023.
I think that they need a new CEO.
No, well, listen.
Wait,
here's the
you talking
thing.
about you talking about Take Two need a new CEO?
Something. I don't know. Ever since
making money for the
dude,
company.
those guys. I don't
Yeah,
give
they're
a fuck.
making
I'm just
money.
saying, like,
They're
they
making
make
money
less
hand
games than
over
ever.
fist.
They publish less
No.
games than ever, and they just repackage the same shit.
Did
Like
you literally
But you
just
know
say
what?
that they
But-
should need a new CEO?
some
when they
whoever's
literally
whoever's
making
making
more-
decisions over there.
They
Get
are-
someone over
they
there
are
that's.
making more money.
I
over
do
hand
not
over
care about
fist
their
than
money.
He's
anything.
he's talking about from a consumer standpoint.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
never
but-
talking
but-
about
but-
from
but- but-
a
but-
corporation
consumers-
standpoint. I'm always talking about gamer.
From a business standpoint, though, they are. I as much as I want to see another Grand Theft Auto, they're doing the best thing. Put out the less amount of shit and make the most money. So, like,
But they're
you
hurting
can't-
themselves
you
in the
can't
long
fault
run
them.
when eventually it all folds over itself and becomes
Are they really?
bullshit.
Are they really hurting
though?
themselves?
Because-
In the
because-
long run, I absolutely believe their lack of investment
I
in talent
no,
and studios and
I
IP is hurting them.
I disagree this because when they come out with the next Grand Theft, it's the anticipation for that game is just
It'll be
so
big.
much that it'll sell gangbusters,
It'll
just
be
like
their
the other
biggest
ones.
one
sell
ever, I'm
gangbusters.
sure. Yeah,
This is the recipe that they've been doing thus far, and that's
but
what
I'm
made
saying
it so
eventually,
successful.
D, everything's going to get monotonous, just like kind of like Call of Duty when that one flopped, right? Everyone's just got tired of it. It's eventually it's just going to take longer because those games take so long to come out, but. You can't just lean on the same shit forever. You're gonna have to come out with new IP.
Well,
You're
you
gonna have to
gotta
put
tell
some money behind some
people.
different types of games.
Well, you just
I
got to
agree
tell
with you,
people to
but
stop
at the same
supporting
time,
it, though. That's the thing.
They're selling.
You know?
They're selling like crazy
Too many-
still.
Like people
They're still in the
still-
top 5 for
I get it.
GTA,
It's
like-
selling a lot. Like yes, it's selling a
Well,
lot.
they're not.
I'm saying in the
ones
long
selling it,
run,
it's
just like
people
paying a second party
buying it.
studio to make your games and not having any first party studios, you know, eventually you're going to realize that you need to buy some first party studios and kind of risk some more stuff out there. That's all I'm saying. From my perspective,
Well,
I think
I
they should
don't
put more games
disagree
out there
with
like they used to.
I mean, they used to put a lot out there, especially when they had Irrational Games before they shuttered that studio.
And
under
they
Ken
they
Levine.
published a lot of games like Manhunt and stuff like that. Like they didn't necessarily even
Manhunt.
own those studios. They just published a lot
It
of
just
these.
it just ultimately comes back. They have so many IPs, even things like Bully and stuff that they could bring back and stuff like that. But it's just the fact that Grand Theft Auto just like, man, they can sell you a $30 game and just give you the disc for free. They're selling they're essentially just giving you the shark currency when you buy the game now. It's like
Shark cards.
yeah, that's all it is. Every time you buy that game now, you're getting a shark card, and the game is just a coaster.
Yeah, man. It just you know what, GTA for me, it just hits different, man. It's just like a
See, look at all the people in the chat talking about Max Payne 3, Midnight Club, Bully, all this different stuff. They don't make that shit anymore.
Well, Max Payne,
You need a
Remake.
Max Payne, man.
They need to remake Max Payne 3 and bring it because
They don't
It's
need. They just need to bring the PC version at ultra settings. Like that game still looks amazing.
Yeah, Max
Yeah,
Payne,
exactly.
is sick, man.
We just
Yeah,
need to
Max
move on
Payne
from this
4.
topic.
Yeah, we need to
That's
move
what
on.
Yeah,
Hey, shout out to Raiden Blade, by the way. Raiden Blade says, he says, how late am I? You're very late, sir, but thanks for joining us. He also says, "Can
Like
you
me.
imagine? Can you imagine Sea of Thieves and Grounded becoming the next Fortnite?" No, I cannot, sir. Cat Miller does say, "Does anyone know? Does anyone know when FFR remake is coming to Xbox? Been waiting so long. Yeah, you'll be waiting a little bit longer. I would say probably maybe
you know
next
what?
year, maybe.
I don't think it's coming out at all for the Xbox.
I don't think it's coming until you see all the parts release after that.
Yeah, you might
Maybe
get like
then.
a definitive collection, but it will hit Xbox eventually.
It might be
who knows?
2030, but it will.
Yeah, it's 2035 even. You might even have a beard finally, you know?
Oh man.
Not you personally, but, you know, the guy out there that has trouble. Hey, Raiden Blade also says, what if Xbox buys Take-Two? Yeah, I mean, again, before they bought ZeniMax, people would have said they would never do that. And then Hargeet, one last one here, says, I thought Take-Two said they don't think day and date and sub services is viable. Maybe maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a negotiating tactic. Maybe you're right, but maybe they've already they released 2K really close to launch, didn't they? Forte 2K, the last gen version. Didn't they put it in Game Pass quick?
It was actually the current gen was day and date of the next gen version.
I mean, like in Game Pass, did it hit Game Pass day and date?
No, it didn't hit day
version?
and date. No, the next gen version didn't.
I'm
Last gen
asking you
version
when
didn't.
the last gen version of 2K went into Game Pass. Do you remember?
The day the system came
Months
out.
Oh, okay. So November. So a month and a half, 2 months later?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the month. Yeah, it came out. Yeah, the next gen version never did, but the current gen hit day that the system's released.
Well, maybe Hargeet, we would definitely see it could be just a Game Pass deal, but normally there's not rumors around something like this unless it is some kind of deal, at least on Game Pass, right? So if it's just 2K, we didn't hear about no rumors of the last gen version of 2K hitting, so maybe it is the last gen version of the next one. No idea. But let's go ahead and move forward. Like I said, we should. So we can sum it up with this one, guys. And again, if you joined us tonight, thank you very much. We do appreciate it. Hit the like button, tell a friend, all that good stuff. You know the story. Check out the links down below. Support all these guys in the panel as we kind of come back to Digital Foundry, confirming that Series X is running games, yes, even older games that have not been patched better than what it did even just a few months ago, thanks to GDK. Development kit updates and tools behind the scenes. How weird is that?
Man, the tools.
Who said that? Wait, who got mocked? Who got mocked? Who got made fun of? Who said that? I wish we could actually play what he says, because he talks about when it came out. And I'm sorry I let this one out of the bag, but it was something that kind of blew my mind. But he talks about like how people at the start of the generation were talking about how and it was becoming like a topic about how the drivers were in a developmental state and how certain things were not up to snuff. And we said it on our show. Listen, I knew that because I had asked, and people on the show also have asked people that know this stuff what was going on. And basically, it was told that it was that and not so other words. They're not going to publicly say anything, but it was that. And it was obvious that it was that. And this just proves that, things like the SDK improving and getting more power and getting better frame rates. How does that happen without a game update? That just goes to show you that they're optimizing, and that was always going to be the case. But we were mocked and made fun of because people didn't believe that could be true, but it exactly was the truth. And I love that it's showing its face. I mean, it's a very technical thing, so not a lot of people are going to be talking about it. But the people that were in it and said all the things that they said, you got a little egg on your face right now, because that's pure. That's right there. That proves the point. That it proves that what we were saying for whatever was true, and it wasn't made up. That's the thing. We don't make up things. We're not PlayStation insiders who make up stuff.
Oh shit!
It never comes true.
Oh, man,
The
good
things that you
God.
can hear, and I can be honest with you, when you hear something from somebody on the show, especially myself, I can only speak for myself, but when you do, it comes from a good place. It's not coming from.
You just said the rest of us are full of shit. Did you guys hear that?
No,
What the
I didn't
fuck?
say that. I can only speak for myself. But you were saying, listen, you said it, and I'll let you have the thing. You said it for how long? And it's just funny how it just comes to fruition. You know what I mean? Now here we are talking about it.
Yeah. It's we were the first people talking about the tools publicly. And we were bitching because we knew that Digital Foundry had an idea and they weren't saying anything publicly, correct?
Yep.
And it's definitely, and I like how on this little clip, Digital Foundry act like they were talking about it back then, but they weren't talking about it back then.
They were
weren't.
reading for sure. And it's funny. I remember a phone call I get from you, and you're like, "What about?" We were talking about it, and I was telling you, something that I heard, and you were like, "Well, they better get on the tools." I remember saying that, like, because we had said a lot of things, and the fact is that if they were coming in hot, the drivers I heard they came in hot because they waited for specific tech, and once they got their hands on it, then they could finally do it. And basically, what I was told, the SDK usually gets like 2 big updates, one in the spring and then one in the winter. So there's probably an update coming that's going to even improve the system. But yeah, it was definitely, that's like all launches was delivered hot. And the specs I always said will speak for themselves, and I still believe that. So it's not like the face-offs are going to end. I want to see what really happens when we're in like 3 years into the generation. We're playing maximum games that are really stressing everything, memory and pushing everything. Let's see where you stand then.
And we can't understate the power of the update, because that game was running at like 45. It was like choppy. When I was watching it on Digital Foundry today, it was pretty much at a lock 60. It had that one drop to like 59, but honestly, 59, 60, same shit, man. So like it's a huge update, and we got killed on this show when Xbox Series X launched, and we kept telling people it's the tools. Listen, they came in hot with the RDNA 2. They have the full architecture. People were laughing at us, saying no, they don't. Oh, Sony has this, or Sony's system is way better. It's more advanced. It's past RDNA 3, and now we're finding out that now that the dust is settled. RDNA 3. Now that the dust is settled, we're finding out that PlayStation is like, it's a hybrid. Doesn't have all the feature sets of RDNA 2. We're finding out that Xbox does have the full feature set of RDNA 2, and it has some other exclusive features on the console. We're seeing the performance. Like if you've been paying attention, each face-off, you've been noticing that the performance has been getting better and better on the Series X, to the point where the games are outperforming the PlayStation 5. They have a higher resolution, or they have a higher frame rate, or whatever. They're outperforming on the whole the PlayStation 5 more. In the beginning, it was the PlayStation 5 that was outperforming. And if you know anything about hardware or tech, you looked at the specs of both systems, you knew that there was something amiss, that there was no way that the Series X was being outperformed by the system. And lo and behold, now we're getting these updates, and look at the performance that we're getting. And it's only going to get better for the Series X as they go forward, man. Go ahead.
Well, the one thing that baffled me about this conversation all the time, ever since the system releases, is the fact that since they changed their SDK, everybody just assumed that it was supposed to work out of the gate like it wasn't brand new. That was the one thing I was like, look, they changed completely how their system operates and functions when it comes to the architectural level of the system. So of course there's going to be a bunch of bumps and bruises along the way, but sooner or later they're going to get all these updates under control, and you're going to really see what the power of the system really can pull. And the fact that it was still running very close neck and neck with other systems that it was being compared to let you know that, look, as soon as these tools that people joked about became mature enough to actually take advantage of the hardware, you were going to see better overall performance from every game that plays on that system, and that's what we're starting to see now. So it was never
100%.
it was never something that I was worried about. That's why I never really kind of talked about it, because it was just stupid. It's like, look, it's something that's new. When it's new, you're gonna have hiccups along the way.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, or the funny thing is, or the most ironic thing is that they're not even using all of the tools. They haven't used mesh shaders yet. There's a lot of stuff that they haven't
yes,
utilized.
I was gonna say they haven't really used. They haven't
There's
used
a
almost,
lot of
I mean, they haven't used a lot. They haven't used a lot, and almost most of the features still haven't been used, and those are the ones that we were talking about, especially.
You got a guy in the chat with the super chat, Chinook guy. He says, "I still want to know which game will use velocity architecture first."
Yeah, so do well. I mean, it depends on if you are maximizing velocity or you're using it for like convenience features, right? Is what they call them. So there's levels to this shit. So it'll be interesting to see what game uses. Just wait, I guess.
Well, one of the things I want to talk about is, well, people will come back to me and say, well, why isn't Sony's tools also going to mature? Yeah, they will. But the fact was, like I said, they waited for specific tech. And the specific tech that they waited for was VRS 2.0 to accomplish that hardware. And they also have inferences, whatever. I was explained to like it's a bridge, a hardware bridge for machine learning. So they do have hardware that's built onto the silicon that they waited for. They waited 6 months, supposedly more than Sony. So Sony had their hands on this, and there is even rumors that Sony, this was a 2019 that was, reworked, but who knows their development, what really went on. But supposedly they had 6 more months of having, being, and their SDK didn't change at all. And like Gaming Forte said, they went into it was originally called GameCore, but it's now the GDK, they refer to it. But again, it was because they waited for specific hardware technology that was built into the silicon for the system. That is a fact. And, that's all there is to it. Now, if you want to dispute this and that, there is literature out there that shows that. Xbox also says they are full RDNA too. Every time something stupid comes up and, it says this, yes, you could do software FSR, but yes, you could do also, there's certain things that you could do with hardware that they're doing, I think they're doing by themselves with super resolution. They have something planned, and it was specifically for the S, because the S can really benefit the most. But with super resolution, I mean, they have a game now that's coming out using FSR. I think it's Mist. Yeah, and that's, you're getting 70% performance, and it looks the same. So you're not losing much. But yes, Xbox was very forward thinking with it. They had to take a hit. They took it at launch, but like I said, the people that were mocking, saying, where's the tools, this and that, that's going to show itself. It might be 2 years, 3 years, and it might really show itself when you get into the thick of it, like 3 years into the generation, people have their hands on this. Now all the technology is being, used, and it's being, used to the best of its abilities. I think it's going to be clear that Xbox made the better design choices.
100%.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
It's a rumor, but I'm hearing that the Series X, another feature they're gonna get is super resolution AI.
Yeah.
Like the equivalent to like DLSS, where they're using the neural network. And we've already seen Microsoft demonstrate this, so they have demonstrated this at a conference, so like we've seen it in action, so we know it is possible on the hardware. We know that it has the hardware built on the silicon. We know that this is built on the silicon. So man, the sky's the limit. I'm telling you, like in the next year, like let's remember we're like in a pandemic state right now, so a lot of things are behind, and in the next year you're really going to start to see these features being used by developers. And just FSR alone, forget about the AI solution for it, just FSR alone is a huge benefit to the series console that the PlayStation just does not have, where they can use it to implement higher frame rates or a higher resolution, and that's just an advantage that the Series X has. And I think it's time that people just admit, listen, the Series X has the better hardware. You know, Sony's got good games, so I got good games coming for my PlayStation 5. But call it like it is, man. Like no SSD is gonna save it. Like I'm sorry, it's just the lesser of the systems, man. And I think it's time that Xbox gets its praise. I'm just tired of everybody always finding a reason to crap on the platform, especially now when the platform is doing good. Like last generation, I understand it completely. Xbox One, it was a disaster on many levels. But they've learned from those mistakes and they've rectified it, yet there's like no type of acclaim for them. It's just ridiculous.
Well, what's not ridiculous is your old games running better and better and better. So, for example, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, if they go back and retest that game, they might find better pixel counts, right? For example, things with dynamic resolution or frame rates that are crazy. Though I'm convinced all of that right now anyway is pretty much... I mean, the polar bears in Valhalla, they didn't have fucking fur when the game came out. All right? They updated that game later with textures, right? So, I mean, there's so much that the developers can still do, and you got to remember that stuff was all and still is being produced during a lot of crazy events and stuff like that.
Those games should be revisited because I remember Assassin's Creed, especially that one. Digital Foundry made a big thing about the frame rate, how it was uneven, right? And that even variable refresh rate wasn't saving it. So some of these games should be revisited. They should do some old face off on these games to see how much the performance has increased over the board, man. Sorry today, I don't know, man. I just can't talk. I don't know.
It's cool. It's good. It's not a big deal. But you're right. I think we'll need more time before things are super substantial. Did they go back and test that photo mode that was revealing the already over 15 frames per second higher performance at identical settings on control? Did they go back and retest that at all?
No, they didn't go deep into it.
Well,
he just basically said he was using it. He showed it. I don't know if you saw the clip, but he showed it, and it was pretty stark. And I remember when that came out, and I remember it was pretty bad. So it's just very interesting. Xbox has a lot of stuff up their sleeves. Like D talks about, that's probably will be used, especially when they show it. They'll show it like with the cloud compute technology. That didn't really go off that well with Crackdown 3, but they always had those. You always got a sneak peek at some of their tech at the builds in March for Microsoft, and they show a lot of stuff that's being planned out. But I do think that and know that from people that have seen the super resolution on Xbox, it's very impressive, and I like I said, it makes to the point where your S makes the S that more attractive because it really can play 4K games at that point, or it can play close to it. It's pretty crazy how they get like these lower resolutions and they prop it up. So I'm very excited and happy that Xbox went that route, even though it was, like I said, a bumpy start. We all were talking about at the point.
Well, Xbox has never been afraid to let you see behind the curtain pretty much with anything that they're doing. They beta test, they have everything in front of a live public audience. And then when it comes to the way that they're about their games and stuff, it's pretty much around the same thing. Like you said, you mentioned Crackdown being one of those things. I just think the closer Xbox gets to bringing out the games that people want to play, this will kind of disappear more and more. And they know that stuff like this, most of the gamers don't even know about. This is something that us, meaning the people on this panel, you guys probably watching in the chat, you guys know about this stuff because you follow people that talk about this stuff. But the millions, of those 10 million PlayStation people out there that have systems, probably about 9 million of them don't know about any of the stuff that's going on. They just know that they either have a system that they can play games on, or they're playing games with their friends on a platform they prefer to play on, and that's either Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo. So none of this really matters to the grand scheme of the most of people playing on games.
Facts. I'm messing around with this OBS thing, figuring out.
I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't know what's going on here, but
it's all zooming.
I know,
in and
like,
going
I looked at that. I'm like, what the hell? Like, yeah,
what
that's
the heck is you doing?
kind of a little odd. But hey, I want to give everyone a shout out that's checking us out and watching the show. And if you happen to have any thoughts on everything that we cover, guys, performance improving on all the systems that you might already own. And I'm just waiting for Tay on when we're going to get some damn Series X's in the GameStop. Give us the deets. Give us the deets on all that.
Well, they last time they were in store, the X's for the most part was the day that Xbox did that in-store event the week of E3. S's have been in the store pretty not regularly, but they've been showing up, and PlayStation hasn't been there since November last year. So
Wow.
Who really knows around that? I think the PlayStation thing is still a directive by PlayStation and Sony coming out saying that they don't want them sold in stores. So for the most part, people just order them online and they can pick them up at a store. Xbox, on the other hand, I think they're just tying theirs to special events. That's why I think they want NPD when it comes to sales in dollars that month, because they did have them in stores. So yeah, they do. I think they do a lot of sales in general when they put them in stuff, because you get a lot of attach and stuff like that. And I do want to bring, and a lot of people don't know this, but I do want to bring attention. We always hear about like how a lot of people are out buying Miles Morales and Spider-Man, like how it sells and people are waiting to play that on PS5. But a lot of people don't realize that most of these places you get this system from, especially like GameStop, because they are still the number one place that sells most of these systems, they sell those games in bundles. Like they do it on Xbox, they do it on PlayStation. It's not to say that Spider-Man and games like that don't sell really well, because people do want to play them on these new systems. But the numbers are kind of a little skewed, because you have to buy them in bundles, and that is one of the games that come in that bundle pretty much all the time. So not to say that Spider-Man doesn't deserve the accolades that it does, but I always thought it was just pretty interesting that people don't want to take the time to actually look to see why something is selling, versus just saying like, oh, people are just waiting for the PlayStation 5 version or waiting to get a PlayStation 5. No, they're just literally getting them with their system because that's the only way they can buy it.
I kind of watch the retail business, what's going on with the consoles. I post all the links and all that stuff, right? So in Canada, I've been noticing that the Series X, they seem to be restocking like roughly about every 3 weeks, and the PlayStation 5 seems to be stocking once a month. And from what I can see, from the numbers that I can physically see, it does appear right now, at least in North America, I don't know how it is in Europe or in the States per se, but it does seem that the Xbox does have more numbers out there in the field of Series X and Series S's. The PlayStation 5s, most of the stuff is bundled here, man. Like very rare do we see the console just by itself. Most of the time it's bundled with another controller, with a game. You got the Costco bundles. Yeah, I rarely see the console by itself. Maybe Walmart might have it by itself, and it's like sold out like pretty quickly. And the digital PlayStation 5 seems to be the key seller for Sony. I guess of course they're going to sell the disc copy, because if that's all that's available, then you got to get what you got to get. But the digital seems to be the first one to sell out. But things are looking grim. To be honest with you, I don't see things getting better until 2020, halfway through next year, maybe get a little bit better. We're approaching the holiday season, so stuff's gonna get tight again. Stuff with the graphics cards, I know we don't really talk about that on the show, but stuff with the graphics cards is getting bad again. To those that know, they came out with a new version of most of these NVIDIA cards. They came out with a light hash rate version. And the light hash rate version basically mined 50% less than the full hash rate versions. So it was less demand for those cards because miners weren't interested in it. So more gamers were able to get those cards. But now there's a miner that came out last week. Well, the miner's been out before, but the miner got an update last week that unlocked 70% of that light hash rate. So now those cards that were designed not to mine as much are mining more, and the demand is probably going to start to pick up for those cards now. So it's just a horrible time to try to get any type of video game hardware. PC guys are like, okay, I'll just get a PlayStation 5, but they can't find a PlayStation 5, or they're like, forget, I'll get an Xbox.
What logical play? I mean, people look at, why would you get an Xbox? You got a PC to play their games that was like, why would you not want that additional flexibility? And I mean, I get both systems from each perspective. PlayStation 5,
there's
you
a
can,
guy.
comes
There's
later
a
to
guy.
PC though.
There's a guy. There's a guy I know right now. He's probably watching the show from one of the other servers that I hang out in. He's been playing his PlayStation 5. I don't know, for like the last month. Trying to sort out his card issue, and he was like, you know what, I'm fine playing it because the games are running at like 60 FPS. I'm okay playing it. A lot of PC guys are okay playing the consoles, especially with Game Pass. And let's not forget, this generation, the consoles are. They're quite powerful. Like they're able to achieve 60 FPS, 4K. Some instances 120 FPS. And like some of these are like the holy grail to PC. 120 FPS on a console is freaking amazing. And the bare minimum on PC has to be 60 FPS, and these consoles are doing it. So don't be surprised to see a lot of guys wanting to get a console, especially when a PC costs you $2,000, $3,000 to build the whole thing, or if you're trying to find a graphics card,
Over there in Canada,
$1,200 or $1,200, or even in the States, $1,000 for a graphics card USD. That's a lot of money compared to $499.
Well, that's the best
$399.
PC builds versus we don't need to go into all that, but yeah.
Yeah, but basically the consoles offer an unprecedented value.
Yes.
So if anyone's laughing at why you're getting a console over a PC, it's just for the sheer value. Like you're paying $399, $499, and you're getting 4K 60.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
You don't even need 4K. It's just all about what value is all subjective, right? So the Series S to some fantastic little box for $300, you can't beat it, quite literally. There's a lot of reasons for a lot of different people. Game Pass is a big one. So, we'll see what they add to Game Pass PC. Apparently that's kind of been a little, y'all got no ray tracing on Game Pass PC because you're second class compared to Steam, apparently, according to the Descent developers,
Well, that's because they have it tied to the Xbox app.
No, they have it tied to, they don't give a fuck because it's on Game Pass PC. No,
that needs to be fixed.
Again, we gotta give a shout out to everyone watching the show. Still, we gotta end this damn thing. All right, 1,300 people still listening to us talk about graphics cards and billion-dollar graphics cards. Shout out to you guys. Hit the like button if you haven't. We do appreciate it. Share with a buddy or two, and tell a friend. Let me read off a few super chats here, and we'll do some outros. And again, shout out to everybody who supports the show. Horace says Tim Dog pulled a Fonz and switched roles tonight? ? Yes, Tim Dog is phenomenal tonight. Chinook guy says, I still want to know which game used velocity first. Yes, sir. Join the club. Also, Lord Starkiller, RDX is spot on with their info. He says the dev kits and updates are key to short and long-term performance games on the Series S and X. Yes, sir. Then we've also got Warcry. He does say, any new news next Gamescom for Xbox? Well, I think we covered this last week, maybe, but they're basically hinting at showing off more or giving more information on some of their more limelight titles, right? Kind of some of the bigger titles there. So maybe next week we'll have a little bit more. Obviously,
just need a release date. That's it.
Yeah,
give me a release date. That's all I need.
And then Mo, that guy, says you got an ass beat today in 2K. Me and Forte did lose a game, didn't we? How did he know that?
He probably was stalking you, man. Stalking your Xbox Live profile.
Shout out to Mo, that guy, my favorite stalker. We were playing team up.
We only lost by one, so
we lost by 1 point. Yeah, we were shooting like trash.
That doesn't care. So and you hit a game winner that you had your toe on the line like Kevin Durant.
If only you wore size 6 shoes. Hardy says, is Myst Remake another date game for Xbox? I don't know. Is it going in the Game Pass?
Which game is it?
He says another day/date Game Pass Xbox exclusive. Myst, is that in Game Pass?
Oh yeah, it's going. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming to Game Pass. I think next month.
So is that day and date?
No, it's 30th.
It's 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah, Game Pass. The Twitter account tweeted out 5 games coming to Game Pass towards the end of this month.
But it's not currently on Xbox.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has FSR though. It's the first implementation of FSR.
So that's that performance saving measure that could effectively.
There we go.
Yeah.
70%. So that's one big tool that the consoles will have. Mad Will, shout out to you. He says, I got nothing. Yes. Shout out to you, brother. And then Dark CMF says, yo, just wanted to chime in. I'm freaking dying. LOL. Yeah, shout out to you,
You're
Dark.
welcome for your entertainment, sir.
Yes, sir. And if you're online later or whatever, I'll be online. Hit me up, brother. We're gonna get off here. Probably rally up a squad. But yeah, we're gonna do some outros. Again, follow Zalker87 on YouTube and on Twitter. You can find him on my last Twitter post. He was on here earlier. He had to leave early. Good friend of ours, and again, hopefully you get some rest. He sounded tired. D-Batch, brother, tell people where they can find you, man, and what have you been playing?
You can find me on Twitter at D_batch, of course, on YouTube at DBatch. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it, but I was playing an alpha over the weekend. And yeah, I can't really talk much about it, but
Battlefield.
I am I am looking forward to the final game, and I wish I could share more with you guys, but hopefully soon they'll have open beta where we can discuss it and show footage. But yeah, that's what I did this weekend.
I'm playing Psychonauts 2 right now, playing through that. I've been.
What do you think?
I continued. The cool thing is, I was able to continue off where my preview left off. Right. So when we played it like a month and a half ago, whenever that was, yeah, they emailed us the full unlock code. As long as I mentioned that, of course, Microsoft supplied the key, the embargo. I don't even know if that's even supposed to be said, but yeah, I think it's I'll say it's a few days before release. The embargoes will drop, and then I'll have like an hour of Psychonauts 2 footage up on that podcast after that. But right now, continuing from where I was, I'm noticing more of the writing. It's a little bit more funny and sarcastic, and just kind of dumb humor, and that's what I'm enjoying about it. But the combat in it's not bad. It seems, like I said, it's very polished. I'm still impressed by the materials and texture work in a game like that. You just don't expect it. It definitely outshines many other aspects of that game, right? You look at the, I don't know, let's say the first level. One of the first levels is like a kind of like a tooth level. You're inside of this guy's brain, but he's a dentist, right, or something like that, right? I don't know much about the story or the first game, but there's like teeth everywhere and stuff, and just the materials and how they built these things that look so real. It's just impressive in that regard. So yeah, so far I'm like I said, it's quality. I'm not either up or down on it. I'm just kind of going through it slowly and just kind of enjoying it. So I'll let you know more after the 23rd. Yeah.
Nice.
But
well,
anyway.
I mean, listen, Game Pass just as a whole, they have Auto Rally that just came out.
Yep.
Hades, everyone's talking about Hades. I haven't played yet. I've been staying at my friend's house and playing. We're going to the Mets, Giants, and I just had a crazy weekend with the family and overall. Yeah, I mean, these games that are coming out are really impressive. 12 minutes, which I'm really looking forward to. The ID at Xbox at this point is killing it. There's like a game every week.
Yeah, it's I tried Art of Rally. It's a pretty interesting little kind of like top-down rally game, but the physics on it, if you turn all the assists off, they're not bad. Zalker said, I played it for 4 minutes and uninstalled this. Or 4 seconds, he said. It's like, what the hell?
Well, I mean, listen, that's the beauty of Game Pass.
It was funny, though.
I started playing that game, Dodgeball Academia, and I'm halfway finished through the game. I mean, that's the beauty of Game Pass. So many of these games and the curation of the games, they do a really good job. It seems that like a Game Pass in general has hit hit home. I feel.
Yeah, it's like in a zone. It's in a zone where it's kind of yeah.
Yeah, it's like in a zone.
Shout out to everyone who invested in Stadia. Hey, we did give a shout out to Greg E3 Egg, the indie gamer. Shout out to you, brother, as well as Stephanie. Shout out to you, and the moderators of the show, Boss Mod Lethal Papa on Twitter. Follow him. We got, of course, Shoguns. Obi couldn't be here this week, and a number of other mods, but they pop in and out. And give a big shout out to those guys in the chat. We've got to give a shout out to Gaming Forte. Brother, thanks for coming on and talking some games. Tell people where they can find you and what have you been playing.
Yeah, man, appreciate the invite. It's Gaming Forte everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, and PlayStation. DPS podcast every Thursday night at 9 p.m. with the homeboy Homo Backslap. So make sure you check us out on that. And when I'm not playing Destiny, I'm playing NBA with Dealer, or I'm playing Hades. Oh, I just started playing Hades. I'm finishing up Death's Door. I'm about 75% of the way through that game. And I am on, it's so good. And I am on the 8th phase of Scarlet Nexus. So those are the ones that I'm finishing up now. So I'm gonna try to get those done before I really jump into Hades, because I played it once on Steam. I'm not Steam, on Switch, and it's already a better experience, as you can tell, on a bigger TV. So that's what I've been doing, and I appreciate the invite as always, bro.
Of course. Rick Payne, by the way, yes. Fight Night Champion. Hit me up on Xbox, and we will get in a few rounds, man. That game's amazing. Fonzarelli, tell people they can play, what they can play. Tell people what you've been playing and where they can find you, man.
You guys can play any game you want. Ooh. Right now, I've been playing some Hades, and you can find me at Fonzarelli Gaming right here on YouTube, where I do my videos and my show every Sunday. This weekend, Sunday, at 2 p.m., I will have Dustin Furman of Last Day Media. That should be fun. We're going to be talking PlayStation. And this past Sunday, I had Dealer Gaming on, just in case you don't know. Check that episode out. It was really fun. Good conversation. And I got a lot of great feedback from that. People were
That's
like,
your biggest show ever, Fonz. You can't leave that out.
It was funny. People were like, you guys had a lot of great chemistry. And I'm like, yeah, we've been working together for 4 years now. So
I will hope the chemistry is good by now.
Like, hey, Fonz. Hey.
Hey,
I'm going to talk about Abandon. No.
No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's a fantastic show.
A Scamden. Yeah, follow Fonz. You can find him on last Twitter post as well on Twitter if you don't follow him there. And Tim Dog. Did I already get you? I didn't get you, did I?
nah, you didn't get me.
Tell people where they can find you, brother, what you've been playing, man.
You can find me, you know where to find me on Twitter, xCloud, Tim Dog, same as Xbox, on Xbox. If you want to invite or a friend, just send me up with a message on Xbox, so we'll friend up. You obviously can find me here every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Looking forward to getting a couple days off. Been having a hectic week, but looking forward. I want to trade Hades, get back to Dodgeball Academia, finish that, and I have some other games. I might give Control a go again too, because I couldn't pass one part of it, but I was kind of enjoying the game. But overall, Gaming Forte, always great to have you. Really, very knowledgeable, and always a pleasure to have you.
Appreciate it, bro.
And you give a shit about what you're saying. You actually care. You bring some energy.
He knows what he's talking about. It's like a real journalist.
Oh Lord.
True.
You're a real journalist. Journalists are not very good at this.
Well, I know. Well, that's an insult now. It's not like back in the day when they actually had respect.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean? When there was actually there was a level of professionalism that was, that was.
Yeah.
We're really fucking professional here, Forte. So you just stay the course, you know.
Listen,
I'm the least professional, but
I'm fucking professional.
I'll see you next
love
week.
you. I love you guys, man. And someone told me like late last year, it's like, bro, energy is the number one thing you need to bring, and you always need to have it. So that person was on this podcast, and he's still here.
I wonder who that is.
Hey, check out Forte's channel here on YouTube and on Vimeo. Actually, his whole channel's on Vimeo. He moved every video over, so you get to go there and find him. And you'll see all kinds of videos there. Let me go ahead and say thanks again to everyone in the super chat, everyone that supports the show, all the patrons. I know I've said it before, but be ramping things up soon there, and definitely having some fun with some Turtle Beach gear. Got a box of Turtle Beach stuff here a couple weeks ago, I think, several weeks back. And been playing with some of that stuff, so I'll be talking about that soon a little bit. And been playing Psychonauts 2. Anytime you see me on the home screen, like a lot of times that's probably a game that's not out yet. It doesn't actually show you what I'm playing, so it just says home. Same for, I think, Colt. Rand's always hiding offline like 100% of the time, so you don't never see him. But usually that means we're playing something that's not out yet. So Psychonauts 2, it's not even letting me see the achievements right now. But you will see that footage next week it should be next week on the show. So definitely look forward to that. Follow me at dealer_gaming on Twitter, and of course, II_dealer_II. Seriously, if you're into playing 2K, we're still trying to fill out that roster, right? We need 10 guys, right, to have a full team-up match. So if you want to message me on Xbox Live, that's the best way. Maybe you can get in. I played with a guy from... Hang on. Got to give him a shout-out because this was a lot of fun. He didn't even speak, like, fluent English, right? I didn't speak his language either, but he's from Brazil. And we played a game together, which was a lot of fun. Nevertheless, so gaming kind of transcends that language barrier, you know. It's a lot of fun.
Especially a sports game, man. Sports games are best, man.
Yeah.
I remember 2K. Like this year, I haven't been on it as much, but the previous years, man, I was just like you. I was just playing it all the time. This year, that game's kind of cod, but 2K is a lot of fun. I know you invited me the other day, man, so I'm gonna try to get on with you this week, man. So hopefully we can get a 10-man team going.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Get it going.
Shout out to Gustavo on Twitter. It's at Lopes GT, gamertag YCAFEBR. We had a few games together, couldn't even understand half of what we were saying, but we knew when somebody got a fucking dunk, you know. So it's a lot of fun. So shout out to just everybody out there having fun playing some games. That's what it's about. And
Yes,
we will see you guys next week. We're out.
Later, guys.
Stalker's a fraud. It's not here.
Ooh, yeah.
He bailed already? Damn it.